50% over 3 years. 1 million new homes could be created if it was easier for Australians to subdivide their properties. It's being pushed by an economic think tank calling on governments to do more to allow more terrace housing, townhouses, low-rise apartments and dual occupancy. Arriving in Adelaide overnight, Emirates' first ultra-long-range aircraft, the A350. The SA capital is the first city in the airline's global network to receive the new aircraft, which can fly 15 hours non-stop, offering over 4,300 seats weekly between Dubai and Adelaide. And English actor Callum Turner is reportedly being eyed off as the next James Bond 007. Coming up, SEN Sport. In the One Day Cup today, Victoria hosts WA. It's the last of the State League one-day games until February. In the WBBL today, the Perth Scorchers host the Melbourne Renegades, the WACA. Overnight, the Hurricanes down the Stars by 81 runs under the DLS method. And the Matildas will tonight play their last match before the Asian Cup, which begins next March, taking on New Zealand in Adelaide.
Plenty of racing awaits this season. Find it all at mrc.racing.com.
Join the conversation. Text us on 0499 736 736. This is Giddy Up with Gareth Hall.
Yes, this is Giddy Up with Gareth Hall on this Tuesday, December 2. It's a big hello to you listening on your local SEN track, RSN and SEN turf dials right across Australia. And a big hello to you wherever you may be listening on the SEN app and also the RSN app. Big show coming your way here on this Tuesday. We'll be catching up with Robbie Griffiths, Ethan Brown, Andrew Lewis, Peter Downs from the Ballarat Turf Club. Of course, they got their big meeting on Saturday. Adam Blenko will join us to talk all things racing, or ratings, I should say, thanks to racingandsports.com. Breeding Bloodstock and Banner with Guy Mulcaster. Looking forward to that. We've got the midweek masterclass as well. The Bet365 Country Racing Hour, one of my favourite segments of the year, where we catch up with some of the superstars of country racing right across the country and the three codes. Tom Scully will join us after Bolter made it 5 on the... Tony Scully, I should say, will join us after he made it 5 on the trot, winning the regional championships at Ascot on Saturday. Craig Newt will have a chat to us, and then we'll find you a few winners with bag of tips across the three codes. And then an interesting Facing the Breeze today from Harness Racing Australia. Toby McKinnon will join me to have a chat about the new rating system that will come into place early next year. So looking forward to that. If you want to join the conversation, just let us know, 0499 736 736. Giddy Up always brought to you by Bet365. It's never ordinary when it's brought to you by Bet365. What's gambling really costing you? For free and confidential support, visit gamblinghelponline.org.au. Let's get stuck into the show, and our first guest is Robbie Griffiths. After Ray McNerio performed really well there on Saturday in Perth, where he finished third in the Winterbottom Stakes, and he also had a big day on Sunday. So Robbie's here to tell us all about it. Good morning to you, Robbie. Thanks for your time.
Pleasure, Gareth. Good
How was
morning.
your experience in Perth?
Oh, outstanding. I was treated like a king. The club was fantastic, and CEO James Aldring was brilliant, and they really looked after us very well, and you can always have a good time when you're in the company of Simon Miller, so you couldn't go wrong.
Were you happy with Ray?
I thought he was outstanding. I really genuinely, with no disrespect to 1-2 in the race, I genuinely believe if he swapped barrier with Joker's Grin and landed on the back of Libertat in a steady run race, we win, because we were sort of 3 to 4 lengths further back than we wanted to be. Rather than being on his backside, we end up having an extra spot back with the Joker's Grin, and we had to wait for Joker's Grin to move before we could come up the rail, and by that stage they had at least a 3-length head start. So mathematically, you get beat half a length, you automatically think, well, we should have won, and Pikey thought we should have won, and he was fantastic. He really proved that he's up to that level, and if the brakes had gone his way, it could have been a different result. You
really can't believe they went that slow in a Group 1.
Yeah, I know. I mean, it didn't look any pace on paper.
No.
When I was asked before, I thought, well, they'll gift it to Overpass, but as it turned out, it was a great ride by Motti to just use, the barrier 2 to stalk the back of Overpass, and so anyway, it is what it is, but I do think that if he lobbed on his Motti's back, we could have had a different result.
And you push on to the Gold Rush now, so you're confident he'll get 1,400 metres?
I'm not. Well, I don't know is the answer, but I'm confident that he's got enough race experience now to relax in a nice position, and he's got such a great sprint, as we've seen on Saturday against top-class horses, that if he does run the 14, he's going to take a power of beating, because... and as you know, I mean, the tempo is going to be a lot slower in a 14, so it can pause for a longer period of time and then zip up. And there's not many horses with his turn of speed, so I genuinely think he's going to. I think he'll run the distance, and I think he'll be very hard to beat. And
while you're over there, why not? It's worth $1.5 million, and I reckon it's a winnable race. I know that Overpass is going to go back there. I think they'll make a decision today or tomorrow with Joker's Grin. And then the fascinating part of that race is that you're going to get a lot of horses back from 1,800 metres to 1,400 metres after they competed over a mile in a railway stake. So that's going to be an interesting setup.
Oh, 100%. And, and our bloke, on the day the owner said, "You're going to stay," I said, "Oh, no, we'll take him home and, look at the autumn." But he just pulled up so well. He went to the beach Sunday morning, and he was so bright, and his appetite was great. And he just looked like he hadn't had a run. So I thought, well, you're right, we're here. It's $1.5 million. You go home and have a rest and come back for a Rubiton for 200. It's a bit of a difference. So, and I do think he'll run the trip, because, Testarossa, he's out of a Testarossa, man. I've trained some out of the families and won over 10 furlongs. So I think Testarossa, being such a good 7 furlong miler himself, I think that's going to help us out a lot. So, yeah, we're looking forward to 2 weeks' time. I think it's going to be exciting for us.
Will you keep Pikey on, and will he be committed to Grant and Alana Williams?
Oh, I'm not sure. He's got first option to if he chooses to. That's up to him. I'm sort of there in and out for one race, and he's got a relationship with Grant and Alana, of course. So that's a sort of a Pikey question to answer. But he's certainly welcome to ride Ray, and we'd love him on. But that's up to him now.
Did Almost an Angel pull up okay there the other day after the Merson Cooper?
She pulled up better than me watching it. I genuinely think she would have been right in the finish.
Yeah.
You need to build momentum in those races.
Yeah.
She never had a crack at them, and the trial form stood up with the horse she beat winning the race. And I'm 100% certain if she gets out early and can build momentum like the winner did, we're right there. So anyway, if it hadn't been a black top race, we wouldn't have been in it. We would have been, it just felt like you wasted 10 days where you could have been on the spring pasture. But anyway, it is what it is. That's racing. You can't always have the luck. But she went to the paddock, and she'll come back for the autumn.
What about this on Sunday? This was a magnificent performance by your first starter, Beldari.
And it's all too Dolly underwriting, being tackled by I Got My Mind on You. And then Galago Cisco, Beldari's battling away. Here's Miss Lil. Miss Lil from the back starting to let down and also powering away. So Miss Lil deep on the track. Beldari's picking up, powering away in the middle. They're across the track from Mathletes. Beldari might have got there. Beldari powering away in a photo finish.
She never looked like a Beldari, but I reckon Warren and Dino were watching from above. Of course, this is the horse that was bred, the last horse that was bred. by the late, great Dean Lester, and has got a lot of his close mates involved here, and she found a way to win on debut.
Definitely divine intervention there.
Yeah.
She was gone, and you could just see Dino and Warren jump out and give her a hand. No, she was very brave, and because Miss Lil and Paranglory just looked like they had her, and but to her credit, she bit like her ownership upstairs. She got up off the canvas and had a crack, and Dino and Warren were like that, and so they've certainly, they say animals take after their owners, so they've certainly injected that into her, and what a special day for us all, Gareth, to win on debut in those colours with the group of family, friends and loved ones that race with Dino and Warren is just something very special.
You've won a lot of races, but I guess this would be pretty high up there, I reckon.
Up there with the best of them, for sure. It's it doesn't get much more special than that. So when Dino bred this last one with his mum Sandra, we thought, well, what a great tribute to Dino to put the group together, and then we lost Warren along the journey. So makes it so special. It certainly does. Yeah.
What do you do with her now?
Oh, we'll just let her get through the run, and it was a pretty solid run on. First up on pretty poor ground because the track kept deteriorating, and I think it rained most of the day. Only the sun come out, for that race, So, I think we'll just let her recover first before we work out where to go. She'll stretch in distance because her mum was pretty strong, Ladoni there that got over sort of 1600. So I think that although she's a balanced spread, I wouldn't be surprised if she'd be more comfortable as we lengthen her out a little bit.
I remember my time with Dino and him and Hamish McLaughlin, who's in this horse. They were trying to train a horse together. I don't know if you were helping them out, and they were trying to win. Which was the Picnic Cup meeting they were trying to win? Yeah,
they won the lead ups and got beat a whisker in the cup from memory.
Yeah.
My brain's not working.
I don't know. I know which.
I can see her, the mare, and Monica Sid.
Yes.
Monica does a great job down on the beach there, and everyone was sort of Hamish.
Belnaring, I reckon. It might have been Belnaring.
Yeah. She won one of the main feature lead-ups and all that sort of stuff. So, no, it was fantastic. They had a lot of fun running in the same colours. Hamish and Dino had a lot of fun there.
Can you just imagine it? Dino giving Hamish instructions and Hamish with his polo horses trying to prepare this horse. I think Hamish lived next to a thoroughbred trainer, I think maybe Jason Warren, and they would have got tips from you, and Dino was trying to train it because Dino used to train horses, didn't he? Well, Sandra did anyway. Yeah. Yeah,
well, Sandra certainly did, and but Dino's played a key role in so many of our race programs over the years. You could imagine the conversations that he was having with Hamish. It would have been quite good. He's it's good. I mean, Dino was so great at programming, and he watched track work for so many years as under his non-deployed Mr. Magic when they used to put the track work in and all that sort of stuff. So, it's been great. I took a horse to the picnics for Dean years ago because he said they'll take a bet there. I said, oh, mate, he'd be $1.50 or something, He got us $3.50, so it was another magical punting story. Another one for the program like Simon Miller the other day.
Yeah. What about there's so many great stories. We could talk all day. Liberami, what's Liberami doing this weekend?
Yeah, well, he's going to the 84 2000
at
Ballarat Cup Day there.
Yep.
And, he's a big track horse, so we thought that after Flemington we'd just wait for this race.
Yeah,
he was very good at Flemington. He just had to get too far back in a slowly run event. But I think that this would be a perfect race for him, so we're very happy.
Yeah, you'll have a few in Ballarat Cup Day. Do you have any in the Ballarat Cup for Dad go around?
He's in the Cup and the Dad, but Libram is better suited in the 84.
Yeah,
and the Dad, I think we might go to Werribee in the 1600. He's had sort of a checkered race program due to weather and things like that. So I think he'd be better suited in the Werribee Cup on Sunday if we go down that pathway rather than jumping to the 2000. Okay. So we'll have Nation's Call will be accepted for in the 1600. Yeah. He just jarred up a little bit last time, but he was quite good winning at the Valley, and Fission will most likely go around in the sprint. I'd say we'll have 3 runners there.
They know our listeners. It was Red Stiletto that were trying to win that race in the Belnarin Cup.
Stiletto.
Yeah.
Red Stiletto. That's the name. They had a lot of fun. It was great.
They did, yeah. I think they called it Joey after. I think I'll have to talk to Hamish about it. But yeah, I remember them. They were doing a show on my show back at RSN, and we used to have so much fun, and we'd laugh as Dino giving Hamish instructions. Anyway, Victory Tune.
I wish we had the jockey cam on Hamish down at the beach. That would have been outstanding. He's probably got some there. He needs to surface it.
Yeah, because Dino was crook, so Hamish used to have to film the race or put it next to the race caller because you couldn't watch it, of course, on Sky Racing. So they had to work something out because it was a picnic meeting anyway.
There's some great audios and video clips of all of that. Surely Hamish is going to have to put it all together.
Yeah, we might have to organise that. Victory Tune win tomorrow?
Well, he can. He was really good first half. He's always had the talent. It's a little bit tricky to make the ground at the Heath, of course. So that's a bit of a sticky point. But he prefers to take his time in the early part. But he does have the talent to win in quite an open race, though.
Yeah, and just a quick one before we let you go. Being the former boss of the Trainers Association, I know you play a major role in it still, or as a consultant to Troy. But Racing Victoria put out the new scratching fee structure, which follows what's $274. Scratching for a rider declared, scratching without a rider declared $100, scratching with a veterinary certificate $120, scratching with a veterinary certificate and a 30-day stand down, the free picnic race scratchings and $10, etc. So they've made some changes there. Do you agree with it?
Oh, I do. We've had this discussion for quite some time, and nobody wants anything to go up. I'm from the biggest owner in our stable by volume of shares and everything, so I certainly don't want expenses to go up, and we always lobby hard, not just for trainers and for owners, because we are in that situation. But I think that it's a fair charge, because it's always been, the scratching fee has always been there to pay the rider that's been declared 2-3 days out. So we've got riders booked already for Saturday. So if our horses accept and don't run, you're only preventing Guy McNeil or Lily Pike or whatever from gaining a run in that race. So the scratching fee has always been about creating revenue to pay the rider. It's never been about sort of offending the owner or overcharging the owner or anything like that. But we're quite fortunate in Victoria. We have a free nomination system, so that we have an opportunity to enter our horses in multiple races on a day or a week. And that's certainly been very, very cost effective for our owners. So you can't have it every way. I think every time the jockeys, agreements go up, it'll probably push the scratching fees according to run parallel with that. So I think that that type of parity, we just can't do anything about it. We just got to agree and move on.
It is a difficult one these days because owners want to make sure that they go to the races where they think they can win. The trainer does their report and saying, well, we've entered for this track, and that track. We've drawn barrier 14, 12 and 4, but we want to check what the scratchings do for that track. But if there isn't any, we'll go to this track and then... So they're keeping their options open, but that's no good for the punter trying to do the form. So it's a different...
The pre-noms is impossible for the punter to do the form.
Yeah.
Sometimes you'll see 60 or 70 in a race and then you only get 10 accepted.
Yeah.
One thing I'd like to see in Victoria, we've brought this up many times over the years, is get the barrier draws on nominations.
Yes.
Because then if there's 74 nominated and you draw 74, you know that if 10 accept, you're 10 to 10.
Yeah.
If 6 accept, you're 6 to 6 or 16 and so on. So it gives the trainer a chance to say, if my horse needs cover, I won't bother accepting because I'm only going to scratch, so I'll go the next day.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. Surely with all of the technology that we can organise something like that, because then it makes it easier for the owners and the trainers to say, oh, we'll accept there. We won't accept there because we've got a bad gate. And they can work it out pretty quick with the barrier draws and the nominations in front of them, I would imagine.
There's an average field size of 9.8 starters in Victoria when we got prize money paid to 10, which has saved the industry, 1.2 million transactions or something, and better for the owners. But if you look at all the scratchings, if there's 18 in a field, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12 predominantly scratch. So in most cases, it's the wide barriers that scratch, as you mentioned a minute ago. So if we have barrier draws on nominations and weights, it's going to make it a lot easier because there's a 2-day rule, so you can't run the next day until the next one. So it'd streamline scratchings for sure. I'm sure of that.
I only wish there's a few text messages coming through there. Obviously, we haven't seen her since that Oaks meeting. A lot of fans of her. When do we get to see her next?
You'll see her on the 13th at the Pakenham Cup meeting.
There's
a mayor's event, 78-1600. I thought she was really good at Flemington. She ended up too far back, so effectively she just ran on to run a place. Nobody went past her. No. So it was a good run. Tempo didn't allow her to run any better in position in settling, but she trialled quite well yesterday, albeit over a sprint of 800, but I think this goes to show she's going well, and I'm looking forward to Pakenham on the 13th.
Geez, we covered a bit of ground this morning, Robbie. We appreciate you as always. Good luck going forward with Ray McNerio, especially for this Ballarat Cup meeting as well. So there's plenty happening. Will you head back over to Perth?
Absolutely,
yes.
I'll go back over. Yeah, well, I can't be there can't be there without me. It's fantastic how we got looked after. So hoping we can go a couple of spots closer next time.
All right, good on you, mate. Thanks for your time as always.
Thanks, Gareth.
There's Robbie Griffiths. It's 21 minutes past 8. Hey, we'll take a break. On the other side of it, Ethan Brown will join us. He's had a red-hot spring carnival, the Victorian jockey, and he heads to WA on Saturday to ride one of the more fancied rivals more fancy chances, I should say, in the Northerly Stakes, the Group 1 Northerly, of course, in Vivier, as Ethan looks to go back-to-back in that race, of course, after winning it last year with Light Infantryman.
Plenty of racing awaits this season. Find it all at mrc.racing.com.
Join the conversation. Text us on 0499 736 736. This is Giddy Up with Gareth Hall.
Welcome back to Giddy Up, brought to you by Bet365. It's never ordinary when it's brought to you by Bet365. What's gambling really costing you? For free and confidential support, visit gamblinghelponline.org.au. Big show coming your way. It was great to catch up with Robbie Griffiths, and it's great to have your company wherever you may be listening on your local SEN track, RSN and SEN turf dials, as we go right throughout Victoria with our 42 stations across Victoria on RSN, and also in our first hour here on Giddy Up, right throughout WA on SEN turf. And then, of course, wherever you may be listening on the SEN app and also the RSN app. We're about to catch up with Ethan Brown in just a moment. Andrew Glewis will have a chat to us. Aaron's Soldiers heading to the Ballarat Cup. Was a little unlucky there the other day in the Cranbourne Cup, so we'll catch up with the South Australian trainer Andrew Glewis as well after Ethan Brown. We'll get an update what's happening there with the Ballarat Turf Club with Peter Downs, who does a wonderful job as the boss there at that race club. Adam Blenko will join me just after 9 o'clock as well to talk all things ratings locally and also internationally. And there's been plenty happening in the sport of thoroughbred racing. Had one of the Great Japan Cups there on Sunday. And we'll also talk about what's coming up for the rest of the Perth Carnival with Adam Blenko. So it's 8:28. Let's take the news on the other side of it. One of the rising stars in the racing ranks, and he's definitely now established himself as, I reckon he's in the top 5 jockeys in the land at the moment, Ethan Brown. I wonder what you reckon. 0499 736 736. I would have him in the top 5, Ethan Brown, in the jockey ranks in this country, and he'll be joining me straight after the news.
Good morning, making SEN News headlines. Power price pain is skyrocketing, with new data showing the number of Australians struggling to pay their bills soaring. Over 205,000 households across the nation are on an energy payment plan, a rise of 50% over 3 years. Claims 1 million new homes could be created if it was easier for Australians to subdivide their properties. Disgraced former Prince Andrew has been officially stripped of his honours amid a delay to his eviction from his 30-room mansion. And actor Callum Turner tipped to be the next James Bond 007. Coming up, SEN Sport. In the One Day Cup today, Victoria hosts WA. It's the last of the State League one-day games until February. In the WBBL today, the Perth Scorchers host the Melbourne Renegades at the Wacker. Overnight, the Hurricanes down the Stars by 81 runs under the DLS method. And the Matildas will tonight play their last match before the Asian Cup, which begins next March, taking on New Zealand in Adelaide.
Plenty of racing awaits this season. Find it all at mrc.racing.com.
Join the conversation. Text us on 0499 736 736. This is Giddy Up with Gareth Hall.
Jimmy Star and Angel Capital running on. It's the race we wanted. 200 to go. Evaporate with Jimmy Star joining it and heading it. Then Angel Capital. Jimmy Star. 100 metres to go. A length and a quarter. Angel Capital. Jimmy's too good. Jimmy Star a length. Second Angel Capital.
What a carnival Jimmy Star and Ethan Brown had this time around, and that was, of course, Jimmy Star when he had called with Ethan aboard in the CF4 Stakes a few weeks back. It's 8:32 and it's time to catch up with the superstar hoop Ethan Brown on this Tuesday morning. G'day, Ethan. Thanks for your time.
Yeah, g'day, Gareth. No worries.
It's been one hell of a spring, mate.
Yeah, it has. It's been an awesome spring. Plenty of trips up to Sydney, but they certainly paid dividends. And yeah, I mean, I couldn't have asked for a much better spring, to be honest.
Do you think that there's a chance that you might situate yourself in Sydney with Kieran Maher, obviously with his stable there, and you're in Sydney a lot during the spring carnival? Would you take that opportunity if it arises, or are you happy to be based in Melbourne and then travel up to Sydney when you need it?
Oh, I'd definitely think about it.
Yeah.
We haven't really spoken about it, to be honest. So I think the way things are at the moment, I'm quite happy with. But yeah, if the opportunity arose, it's something that I wouldn't, it's a decision I wouldn't make lightly, put it that way. Jimmy
Starr's a bit like you, mate. Every campaign that he's had, he keeps on getting better.
Yeah, he's a funny little horse. He used to be hard work and just, he was very immature. Just took him a while to work out what it was all about, albeit still being a good horse. But the last two preps, and I think the travel, and he's just really matured and come into his own. And you're seeing the best of him now. Like, he's just such a good horse and so proud and just very grateful to stay on and find a horse like him.
I reckon Kieran described him as a horse with ADHD after he decided to have a pick of grass just before a TJ Smith. He's just got inattentive ADHD when he's meant to be concentrating. He's a bit like me. When you're meant to be concentrating, you're in dream world a little bit and you're starting to eat some grass instead of concentrating on the job ahead.
Yeah, that was bad. We were in the gates and he would just stand there so quiet, and then he would just shove his head down or he'll flick it up, and Kieran summed him up well. Like, he's probably got a bit of ADHD, but we got on top of that this prep, and I mean, he's, as I said, every time you teach him something or get him to focus on something, he takes it on board and he learns. He's a very intelligent horse.
So it's been a little while now since you made that comeback, and you seem to be nice and settled, and you're definitely in the top echelon of jockeys now in Australia. Are you enjoying it, mate, at the moment? You seem to be in a really good place.
Yeah, definitely. Loving it. I've had a lot of good support through trainers, and Kieran being number one, obviously, but also a lot of support from friends and family. And through that tough period, I was, not persuaded, but told to probably think twice about coming back. And I had the right support all the way through, and it's paying off now. I'm glad that I listened, and I'm just grateful I had that support around me, because without that, I probably would have. I probably wouldn't have come back, or at least not come back to the strengths that I have.
Who twisted your arm in the end of the day? Who was the most persuasive to get you back in the saddle?
There was a few. I think probably Kieran stands out there because, I had a lot of people say, you need to think about it, but, you'll ultimately you make your own decision. I'm not saying Kieran made the decision for me, but he sat me down one day and he said, "You're delusional if you think you want to train horses or do something else, because you're good at what you do, and being a jockey is the best job in the world, really."
Yeah.
Aside from the wasting, but you got this opportunity here, and essentially, you're going to give it away. You've worked hard to get to where you are now. And it went from there. So I thought about that again, and thought, bugger it, I'll have another crack.
Yeah, and it's paid off. And when you think about Kieran Maher, obviously we know he's a great trainer, but he's had some great he's got a great record in helping people as well, whether it be trainers that have graduated to being top class trainers like a David Eustace or Annabelle Archibald these days. Lucy Yeomans are kicking goals. Or I reckon he's had so much pride as well in seeing you develop like you have.
Yeah, I've heard that he's got a good track record with that.
Yeah.
I think, he's turned a few people into good trainers, hasn't he? I mean, Dave's doing so well over in Hong Kong, and Annabelle's going well here, and there's been a few others go through the system. But, I mean, he's just a very relaxed guy, but very intelligent also. So I think we get along quite well, which makes things easier. And he wants to help, and he's given me a really good opportunity with the rides he's been giving me. So, I mean, you take that with both hands, and I'm very appreciative.
Do you want to be a trainer after race riding?
No. Not anymore. I think he voluntarily took me out of that. And he still, I tell you what, he still reminds me of him too.
Well, I'm just looking at your percentages now, trying to work out how much prize money you've made. I think you'd be making more money than most of the trainers anyway. Hey, you go back to Perth this weekend. Can you win back-to-back Northerlies? This time you ride Vivier?
Yeah, that's the plan.
Yeah.
Since I won on her in Sydney, she's just gone to another level by the looks of it. On her, she brings a different form, that Sydney form line, which is obviously always strong. I can't see why not. I mean, if she draws a gate and, she's proven at 1800.
Yeah.
I think if things go away, for sure, but I think barrier draws are going to play an important part. But yeah, when I got offered her, I didn't think twice. I was happy to take the ride, and I'll give up a couple here, a few here, Ballarat Cup Day for her.
And she's a great each-way chance, as you pointed out. I would have loved to have seen Light Infantryman back there to defend his title. Did you play a part in trying to get him out to 2,400 metres? Because, geez, he was brave there the other day. I thought he was home. And I can't believe you set a good tempo and they still wanted to take off.
Yeah, I think it was before the Cox Plate, after his run before that, we thought maybe, his run in the Australia Cup, I know he settled fourth, but Jenny said, a hot tempo that day, and I took off quite early on him, and he outstayed them. And we thought, after the Cox Plate, maybe up to 24 where he can lead like that, he can set that tempo, he can outstay him. And we nearly pulled it off. I think maybe first go at 24, he just felt the pinch at the end.
Yeah.
And she's a hustler, there's no slouch either. It's a good horse, huh?
Yeah.
And I thought he was very gallant in defeat.
What about Jennings gone bonkers? She was heavily supported. Did she handle the track? What was with her there on Saturday? She was still pretty good back in second, but she was back like she was unbeatable.
Yeah, she was bloody sure, that's for sure. She's a good horse, and she'll get 2,000, that horse, in time. She may well be on an Oaks path. I'm not sure what their plans are with her, but as a rider, that's what I feel. I thought the first half of the race worked out well. They probably went a bit slow just on the point of the corner when they quickened. She just become unbalanced and she couldn't quicken around that corner. And you see it. You've seen it before. Caulfield can bring some of those horses undone their first go at Caulfield, especially the rail out 9.
Yeah.
But I think she's a little bit inexperienced. I thought her run was great. She's come out of maiden grade and run down, just been beaten a length in a stakes race to a horse that's been running Cup Week. So I think it was a great run. She's going to improve from it, and when she gets out and trips, she's going to be a very, very good horse.
Geez, you got some lovely rides there tomorrow on the heat track at Caulfield. You ride nearly every race that you're in. You're in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 races. You're riding nearly the favourite every time. Job done. Chakuto was impressive the other day. Storm season's progressive. Edgerton's an each-way chance. He's got to take on Touchdown. Cintalante's not without a hope. And then Empire of Pain's the favourite in the last.
Yeah, there's definitely some good rides there.
Any standout? Anyone you're really looking forward to riding?
I'm looking forward to riding all of them. But
Yeah.
I reckon Chikuto, he's very green.
Yeah.
He's drawn a lot better than last start, and he'll settle a lot closer in the run. You know what Waller's horses are like. They just continue to improve throughout their prep. So he's one I'm looking forward to. Job Done's trialled up good.
Yep.
And I think Storm Season showed a fair bit last prep. She's coming back from Sydney, and I reckon that's a good race for her.
Yeah, I reckon. I agree with you there. They scratched her from a winnable race, I reckon, last Saturday. It was going to be too hot, and the favourite of Waller's come out. And when she came out, I think she would have nearly been the horse to beat. But I can understand why they took her out because of the heat. So she's back here. Cintalonte's got to take on Touchdown, but Edgerton's an each way chance. So bloody 3 winners for you tomorrow, Brownie, I reckon. That'd be the pass mark.
I do think Cintalonte's probably flying under the radar a bit.
Yeah.
I reckon he's going well.
All right, then we'll have something on all of them, mate. It's going to be Brownie's Day tomorrow. And you go and get him. You're not going to Hong Kong, are you, for the carnival?
No, I would have loved to.
Yeah.
Light infantryman was going to take me over there, but we changed plans, which is fine, but hopefully I'll have my day in the sun one day there.
Yeah, mate. Well, we're going to keep you. You'll be definitely getting offered to go to Hong Kong. There's no doubt about that. So we'll keep you here for a little longer if that's okay. We'll have to sign you up for a couple of years. But, hey, mate, you should be super proud. It's great to see you doing what you're doing at the moment. You're great for the sport. You speak so well and you're delivering the goods at the moment, mate. So good luck tomorrow. As I said, 3 winners is a pass mark for you tomorrow, Brownie. You put on an absolute show and then go and win the Northerly with Vivier. I know a few of the owners in there. They'll give you a 10% sling surely if you get the cash.
Hit them up for me.
Yeah, all right. See you, brother. Thanks, mate.
Cheers, Gareth.
There's Ethan Brown. We'll take a break. We'll come back with Andrew Lewis next.
Plenty of racing awaits this season. Find it all at mrc.racing.com.
Join the conversation. Text us on 0499 736 736. This is Giddy Up with Gareth Hall.
This is Giddy Up. Great to be with you on this Tuesday morning. Let's catch up with superstar South Australian trainer Andrew Lewis because they're having another assault on a country Victorian couple. Cranbourne's a metro track these days, but they're heading to Ballarat for the Ballarat Cup with their assault. And Andrew joins us now. Good morning, Andrew.
Hi, Gareth. You're a bit rich there, but
Yeah.
the air assault has another trip over the board and a crack at another cup. Yep.
Yeah. Can he win?
Oh, I'd like to think he can. I think he's a different horse to what he was last year. Like he's had a pretty good prep. I thought he wasn't too bad the other day at Cranbourne. Once he sort of got running, we got further back than we thought, and then shuffled back again off that. And when we were hoping to be working into the race, we weren't. I consider him sort of still in the game. And 2,000 metres, he hasn't won at 2,000 metres, but I feel he's performed well over ground as a 3-year-old, and I'm sure he can run a better race than he did last year.
So what happened there at Cranbourne? We all had him mapped. A little closer. Was it he just jumped badly, or what happened in your eyes there?
I think he jumped fair. I think the early pace in the race was frantic, I guess.
Yeah.
Like they sort of took off, and Jason didn't particularly want to bustle him.
Yeah.
And then then we sort of found a spot, and then we got shuffled back a bit, just with the ruck of the race. And then we found ourselves sort of trying to find room. Sabaj had worked itself to the outside of us and had momentum, and well done to Sabaj, a beautiful horse on the way up. But we just took a bit of balance, and then we got going. So just one of those things. That's racing, and we regroup, and hopefully we can have momentum building into the race Saturday.
What's his best surface?
In terms of the track
good,
conditions,
soft,
probably in that good range. You'd think.
Yeah.
He's not the style of horse that turns off when it's yielding, but he he's a competitor. But probably in that good range.
I met your young boy Joe there, and we were in Benalla. Geez, he's a good kid. So you've done well there, mate. He'll be taking over shortly, I reckon. The boys did a wonderful job.
Oh, they're good. Yeah, that was a Rugamama going into the Benalla Cup.
Yeah,
it's a good trip for them, and Joe and Charlie McAuliffe are on duty for that trip. And they love it. You need the young people in the game to keep it going. So Joe's been involved with a few of our sorties, and he works closely with Molly Knowles. Yeah, she's done the same, and we sort of, we don't have a stable profile over the border, but we make sure that we've got the ability to travel well. And, that sort of worked well through the spring without sort of getting a win this year.
They're Charlie and Joe, good young men. They're going to make it in this game if they want to anyway. I've got about 50 seconds to go. Can you ask that dog if there's any winners at Balaclava tomorrow?
He knows them better than us. He does about 500 circles a morning. And I don't know, like probably the Dirty Work filly. She had a good first up run, very green, so I popped the blinkers on her and just kept her at 1,050 for tomorrow, but I'd probably step her up that little bit next time, but sure to be around the mark for your punters. Beautiful.
So that's race 2, number 7, Dirty Old Town. Good on you, Andrew. Thanks for that, mate. Good luck, and say good day to Charlie and Joe for us.
I will. All the best. Thanks, Gareth.
We'll have to get them on our show, Joe and Charlie. They're beauties. They could be our South Australian correspondents. It's 8:53. We'll take a quick break and we'll come back with plenty more straight after this.
Plenty of racing awaits this season. Find it all at mrc.racing.com.
Join the conversation. Text us on 0499 736 736. This is Giddy Up with Gareth Hall.
Welcome back to Giddy Up. Adam Blinko will join me shortly from racingandsports.com. We'll also have a chat to Peter Downs, the CEO of the Ballarat Turf Club, ahead of their big weekend this weekend. We've got breeding, bloodstock and banter. There's plenty to discuss there with Guy Mulcaster, one of the country's leading bloodstock agents. We'll find you some winners with the midweek masterclass team, looking at the Belmont, Warwick Farm, Ipswich, Balaclava and the Caulfield Heath meeting. Trial time a little later with Dean Watling and also Matty Morton. And then we'll talk some harness racing with, of course, Toby McKinnon from Harness Racing Australia about the new rating system that'll come into place early next year. If you've got a question for Toby, if you're in the harness racing industry, let us know, 0499 736 736. For the SEN Turf listeners in the West, you're about to go to Goss and Tim on SEN Turf, but stick with us on SEN Track and RSN. We've got plenty more to come in the next hour.
Good morning, I'm Nath Gardner with SEN News. The body of a Victorian man has been retrieved after a diving accident in South Australia. The 65-year-old drowned at Tank Cave at Tantanoola, just west of Mount Gambier, when he became trapped in a narrow section of the cave system. Gary Gibson is being remembered as a bubbly spirit well known among the diving community. WA firefighters continue to battle a blaze near Geraldton that's being treated as suspicious. It's destroyed at least one home. Residents have been told it's still not safe to return, while a number of fires in the Goldfields Esperance region have now been downgraded to a watch and act. The TGA has released a safety alert over the potential risk of suicidal thoughts and behaviours for those taking weight loss medications. But the AMA's Dr. Danielle McMullen has told Nine there's not enough evidence to say the drugs cause any changes in mood or behaviour.
My message is, if you've got a history of depression or anxiety and you're thinking about starting these medications, have a talk about that with your doctor. And if you're already taking these medicines and you're fine, there's no need to worry.
That comes as the World Health Organization has released guidelines recommending Ozempic-style medications as long-term treatments for obesity. Closing arguments begin today in the murder trial over the 2018 death of Toyah Cordingley in Cairns. And the remaining royal titles of Andrew Mountbatten Windsor have been formally stripped by his brother, King Charles. Coming up next, SEN Sport. Marnus Labuschagne has backed Usman Khawaja to keep his spot at the top of the order for the second Ashes Test starting in Brisbane on Thursday.
He's been really the rock of at the top there. But, I mean, I'm not a selector. Whatever happens is all up to the people above my pay grade.
And for Unibet, gamble responsibly. NFL today, the Patriots host the New York Giants.
live on RSN and SEN Track. This is Giddy Up with Gareth Hall.
Welcome back to Giddy Up, all thanks to Bet365. Get set for a big hour come your way in this middle hour here. We'll be catching up with Pete Downs from the Ballarat Turf Club ahead of their cup meeting on Saturday. Adam Blenko from racingandsports.com. Guy Moldcaster with Breeding Bloodstock and Banter on this Tuesday morning, and then the midweek masterclass team just after 10 o'clock. But let's head to Ballarat to catch up with Pete Downs. G'day, Pete.
Hello, mate. How are you?
Good, thank you, mate. What's Ballarat looking like this week? How's the weather going to be?
For day one of summer yesterday, it was cold and miserable, yes. but the rain was actually pretty good, so it's put track and grounds in really good condition. And come Saturday, I think we're 22 and pretty sunny, and we'll dodge all the rain. So Cup Day is going to be a ripper, which is good, and some nice weather leading up to it to get us in good preparation time.
Well, that's nearly a perfect day, 22 degrees in Ballarat, I reckon.
Yeah, with how cold it's been down there,
Yep.
It'll feel like a very hot summer's day for all the locals. So, no, it'll be a great day for it.
It's a funny world we're living in. Like I remember playing cricket in December in Ballarat. It was starting to heat up. But the seasons are pushed back. There's no doubt about that now.
No, it is. It's certainly been a bit of a funny lead up. But if anything, I know last year we were quite dry and irrigating heavily, and it's always a bit harder preparing a track when you're relying on irrigation only. But with the amount of rainfall, we had a good inch on Friday and Saturday, and then a little bit of a drip yesterday. So it'll put us in perfect condition come closer to race day, which is great.
So we'll have a good track, you reckon, by the time Saturday rolls on?
Yeah, I'd like to think we might give it a little bit of a sprinkle later in the week, depending on what happens today, but maybe a tiny little sprinkle, but we should be good for most of the day.
We just had Andrew Lewis on, so Aerosol's coming to Ballarat to try and have a crack at a cup. Obviously a little unlucky in a Cranbourne Cup. The field looks like it's going to be pretty handy, I reckon, by the time we get the acceptors there tomorrow afternoon or tomorrow morning.
Yeah, it does actually. There's some. We've sort of spoken to a few trainers on who are coming, and knowing Aerosol was coming, it did run super recently. Kieran's got a couple in. It would be great to see Berkeley Square come back to its best here on Cup Day again. He's obviously won last year and was great for the locals. So, yeah, there's going to be some good ones. We had a pretty much capacity field last year, and I'd like to think we'll be going pretty close to it again this year. And how do you like this new Saturday meeting? It's been around now for a few years, but what are you expecting on Saturday? Yeah, it's been okay for us without being sensational. We certainly enjoy the race program. It's a really, really strong racing program. And been supported well. We're just sort of trying to find the right time between Christmas and a few things, but we've probably been popped on the back foot a little bit with a local booking of a pretty major music festival, which has just made it a bit more trickier around some accommodation and a few things. But by and large, it's a different crowd that we're going for, so it'll be a pretty big day for us still all the same after a really good one last year. Good luck getting into, where was the nightclub I used to go to when I was in Ballarat? JJ. 21 Arms? Yeah, now 21 Arms. JJ. And what was across the road there of JJ Sports Bar? Yeah, I know the one, Regent nearly, wasn't it? The Regent or somewhere like that. So that's now the Sporting Globe, which was a good sponsor of ours. So it still does go well. It'll be a busy enough one, but plenty of good spots. We've actually got free buses going into coming out here and then going back into town to quite a few different venues and pubs for us. So will be plenty of opportunity for a great time. Yeah, and obviously it'd be hard to get into the nightclubs with all of those concert goers at night, so you got to go to the Lime pub or something like that anyway. Get in nice and early and get to bed after that, after a big day at the races. Right. I think so. I think most of the nightclub ones they'll be out there at their festival till quite a bit later. So it should be a nice night to find a meal or a beer or a good place to go to after the Cup this year. And what about hospitality? Is that all sold out yet, Downsy? Mate, we've got a few still available. We've sort of opened up a few different spaces and we'll leave them for sale pretty much until the night before. So still call up and go. And they've been pretty strong bookings so far and we're starting to see quite a few flow in still. So I think everyone's booking things a bit later, but numbers are still going really well. So we've increased the size of the trainers precinct area, which was really successful last year. Yep. We're doing sort of the kids enclosure will be really good fun. Bring your kids out. We've got free ice creams on offer this year. And quite a few different rides and bits and pieces. As well as for the first time, we're doing an After the Last band as well. So a local pretty major band, Sam and Sam, will be playing After the Last for about 45 minutes or an hour. So there'll be plenty of different things. Racing on track, as you said, will be really good with a big cup and some other really good supporting races, but off track will be just as good, much fun as well. Sensational, mate. And
hopefully a few of the Ballarat trainers have been okay this week. Obviously, they had Kelvin McAvoy's wedding there on Sunday, so they've got to go and get ready for another big weekend with their hometown cup. So hopefully they've turned up this week.
Yeah, well, I don't know if there'll be. I think all their two RCs might be doing a bit of the track work yesterday and today, but from now on out, they'll be here and making sure the final touches are going on all their runners for this Saturday, and hope they go very successfully after a couple of winners last year.
Well, you've got number one commitment in the game these days, and Simon Morris has been obviously spruiking his own hometown cup. So look out. Hopefully he's got enough petrol tickets left in him. Simon obviously working alongside the racing blogger over the last couple of months. He's been everywhere. But, bring it on, mate. Enjoy your Ballarat Cup meeting on Saturday, and we appreciate that update, Downsy.
No worries, mate. Thanks for the call, Gareth.
There's Pete Downs there, the CEO of the Ballarat Turf Club. Let's take a break on the other side of it. Adam Blenko will talk to us about all of the big raiders over the weekend, from international to the national game here in Australia. So we'll catch up with Adam Blenko next.
Plenty of racing awaits this season. Find it all at mrc.racing.com.
Join the conversation. Text us on 0499 736 736. This is Giddy Up with Gareth Hall.
And Calandigan is joining in. Big strides. Calandigan coming with Masquerade Ball. Masquerade Ball. Calandigan is dead in front, but Masquerade Ball is kicking. Masquerade Ball the inside. Calandigan the outside. Head and head, bobbing to the line. They hit the line, and maybe Calandigan's won it.
It was a famous Japan Cup there on Sunday evening. This man would have loved every moment of it. I speak of Adam Blinko from racingandsports.com. Hello to you, Adam.
Hello, good sport, isn't it? Horse
it is
racing.
A great sport. That was one of the best races I've seen for quite some time. And from an international perspective, I think racing was the winner, especially internationally, when you've got the best horse rate in the world, the best European middle distance horse, coming to Japan. And because let's be honest, the Japanese have scared a lot of the Europeans off in previous years. And Calandigan, the French star, gets the job done, defeating Masquerade Ball, who's a star, in a sterling 2-horse war.
Yeah, indeed. It was. It felt like the full year arc had come around. With the arc of the year sort of started with Romantic Warrior and Forever Young in the desert in Saudi Arabia with that sort of stirring duel, if you like, and it finishes here. I know we've still got Hong Kong to come, and a couple of those races look like they're going to be just victory laps for the local champs.
Yeah.
But this felt like a big, significant racing moment, didn't it, Gareth, with, as you say, the international flavour. And that's been probably if you look back at 2025, I reckon that's been the real highlight of the year. Kar Ying coming here, obviously, for an Everest, and now Calandigan doing this, and then that, as I said, that duel in the desert. So I think the real highlights have been the Travellers, and long may that continue, because it's great for the game. It's great for betting as well, because you get those sort of, I mean, we always, betting requires, differing opinions, and getting those differing opinions from around the world and different pools to bet into as well is obviously an opportunity for punters. So from the betting side of things, it's as good as it is from the sporting side.
I reckon for the first time, I know I'm in the racing game, it is my job, but for talking to a few mates that are in this game as well that love the racing, the sport of racing, is that I reckon people are paying more attention now to the different jurisdictions around the world because of some of these international stars. Like, I know a lot of people watch the Japan Cup because maybe if Damien Lane, they watch it, but now they know who Calandigan is, and they probably knew of him before that anyway, but they just appreciated that race, how good it was. And as you pointed out, Kar Ying Rising coming to the Everest was great for world racing, and it was great for our racing here because they had plenty more eyeballs on that race in Sydney because of Kar Ying Rising. And then that highlight, I reckon, when you had Romantic Warrior and Forever Young on dirt in Saudi Arabia going at each other, and obviously Forever Young kicking back, and then he went on to win the Breeders' Cup dirt. So, it doesn't get any better, I reckon, from an international perspective this year.
Yeah, I think that's right. I think it's been the story of the year, and it's, as you say, it is. The world is shrinking and shrinking, isn't it? And I suppose racing's not immune to that. And it's a little bit, I remember it sort of being a bit of a thing, why do you like French racing? You're so far away from it. And I thought, well, I watch the races in Queensland on Sky. I'm not there either. What's the difference? Paris and Brisbane are as close to me through the box or through the internet as one another. So, the world is shrinking in that sense because of the way we consume the racing, I suppose. If you're not there, you sort of, what's the difference? It's on the telly, you're watching Tokyo, you're watching Nanango, it doesn't really matter. So, when these great horses go around, as you say, when you get those clashes of form lines, it generates interesting, sporting stories and great sport, but it also generates great betting, and that's going to lure people in. So, I think it's fantastic.
They smashed the clock, but the race before in the Tenno show, the lead up to the Japan Cup, and we had Damien Lane on the show, and he was disgusted basically with the tempo in that particular race. He said he couldn't really believe it. It was un-Japanese-like, but the superstar Taki was in front, and he says because he's such a powerhouse in him, he's got this aura and presence in Japanese racing, one of the biggest sporting stars in Japan, everybody's too scared to take him on. So he was able to dictate his terms and get away with basically murder out in front. They walked in that race, and then in the Japan Cup, they went like last week's pay basically, and it set up for a wonderful race. And there was a loose horse, and then a couple of jockeys fell off after the line. It had it all.
It did. Chaos. That's what we want. A little bit of organised chaos. I think it had, I think when you think of the Japan Cup as well, you sort of think it's a bit chaotic, isn't it? I think maybe the crazy camera angles and even some of the crazy, the way the jockeys ride over there can, certainly to an Australian eye at times look a little bit crazy. So it always, part of the appeal of the Japan Cup, the big crowd, the fanfare, the pomp and the pageantry, you want a bit of chaos. So jockeys flying off hip and shoulders after the line, it had it all. You're right. And it, from a nerd's point of view, it also had, as you say, a very big speed figure. It's interesting that Damien Lane says that about the lead-up was very un-Japanese in how slowly run it was. But Masquerade Ball showed that he had the pace to overcome a falsely run race there, and then he stood up here in a furnace and stood right up again. And even though he was beaten, he's the best loser anywhere in the world in 2025, Masquerade Ball. And there have been some outstanding losers.
Do you know who the big loser out of all this is? French racing in the Arc de Triomphe. Because wouldn't the French love to see Galland again go to Paris on Longchamp Day and fly the French flag and represent France in their greatest race, but because he's a gelding that he's not allowed to do it. It's just a ridiculous rule.
Yeah, you think this might be the one that finally snaps them?
He's the world's best horse. He's from France. It's sort of like, I don't know how you describe it. It's like Leighton Hewitt back in his day. He's not allowed to compete in the Australian Open because he's been going. That's probably a bad example.
Leighton Hewitt has had progeny, Gareth.
That's a bad example. Sorry, Leighton. Sorry, Leighton. Nick Kyrgios, it should be.
Well, he might have had progeny as well, Gareth. We're not sure.
Yeah, so you know what I mean. Like it's ridiculous. Their biggest star in racing is not allowed to compete because he's a gelding. It's a racing game. It's meant to be a sport. It should be possible for everybody that wants to compete and try and reach the heights, because I would imagine that the Arc de Triomphe is a race of dreams for the French. And I know it's owned by the Aga Khan. He probably disagrees with me regarding all of that. But
Dariz is worth more to no longer the Aga Khan, but he's the Aga Khan's racing operation. Correct, Dariz is worth more than Galland again, I suppose. Or maybe not. He won a big bonus there on Sunday as well, so very valuable. But in a sense, you could argue though that forced Galland again to be here. As opposed, maybe had he run in the Arc de Triomphe, he's not here. So swings and roundabouts, I suppose. It is as someone who thinks that the sport is essentially, I should say knows that the sport is essentially run for entertainment and for the punters. It does seem like an antiquated rule to be pretending that we need to ban geldings so that we're running races for the betterment of the breed is as I said, probably a bit antiquated. But at the same time, the French are going to French, aren't they?
I can't work out why the Japanese, the Japanese would be a little angry, I reckon, after being beaten there on Sunday, because they've been a dominant force in world racing, but have they had their colours lowered a little bit? Like, they can't get warm in Europe, and now the European superstar rocks up in their backyard and defeats them.
Yeah, I mean, there might be a little bit of that, but I suppose they'd probably sit there, well, again, maybe this is just looking through my nerd lens, but I look at it and say, gee, Masquerade Ball's actually put up, even though he was beaten there, a better performance than any 3-year-old bar Dariz in Europe this season. So they're still producing powerhouse horses and outstanding racing, and if they're a destination again, I shouldn't say again, there's been plenty of horses go there, but not of Calandigan's sort of stature, if you like. I think that's good for the game there, and they, more than anyone, sort of have got behind the idea of being sporting about it and making it taking on these great challenges. So they would, they'd look at Francis-Henri Graffard and think, good on you, mate, you're doing what we do. So, they could only tip their hat, and Yahagi would be tipping a fine hat to him as well. Yeah,
100%. It sets up for an intriguing international meeting, but the strength of Hong Kong and their racing superstars, I guess, from a punting perspective anyway, puts a dampener on this year's international carnival, because you'll have Romantic Warrior as one of the shortest price favourites and Carling Rising basically unbackable.
Yeah, I suppose they're both going to be, I was going to say 10s on Carling Rising, as you say. He'll be even shorter than that. The Japanese will throw something at Romantic Warrior, I suppose, and he's, maybe if you're really trying, you could start pulling some threads there and think about it. But gee, look, he looked in good nick the other day, didn't he? So you're right. It's probably the Hong Kong Vase is the best betting race there of those 4 internationals every year anyway. So we'll just clap them around in the Cup and the Sprint and back the winner of the Vars. That'll be the plan.
Do you reckon Void's bubble goes back to the mile? Have they made an announcement there?
I think they have. Yeah, I think that's where he's going because he didn't. I haven't been following it as closely as perhaps I should, but I think he didn't even. He ran in the Cup trial without an entry in the Cup. Is that right?
Yeah, something like that. But I think when we talked to James McDonald about it, he was going to leave it to the trainer, of course. You know, James, when you ask him about different horses and their programs, he doesn't really like to comment because, you know what, he's got so many fingers in so many different pies, James. But I reckon he probably gets back on Void's bubble if he goes to the mile Romantic Warrior in the 2,000-metre race. So.
Well, he can probably sell it that way. You were beaten, and you were beaten because I wasn't there.
Yes, that's a very good point. Good morning to Zach, who's been listening this morning anyway. So it's been a great international year, I reckon. So who do you reckon is the best horse in the world is at the moment?
Yeah, I think it's pretty clear cut that it's Calandigan, and it might be that Kaying Rising is suffering for not having a pecking order behind him, and so Calandigan goes to Japan. He takes on that challenge, which Kaying Rising did coming here as well. But when he got there, he got, as we said, a big fast race. He got a horse like Masquerade Ball to go and say, okay, well, I'm going to run this fast. I dare you to run faster. Yeah. So Kaying Rising hasn't had a horse go, I'm going to run this fast. I dare you to run faster. He's just run as fast as he's needed to run, which is very, by the way. Yeah. But I would say Calandigan, in terms of peak ratings, they're very, very similar. And I think anyone who's rating racehorses knows that there's an error term in these ratings because there's, when you're modelling things, there's obviously information loss. So there is an error term there. They're not perfect. And so I can sit here and say, look, I think Calandigan's 133 and Kaying Rising's 132. And if I tell you that means Calandigan is definitively better than Kaying Rising, well, I'm an idiot. Yeah. But what I can say with a fair degree of confidence is that Calandigan has now run over 134 times on the bounce in 3 different countries and beaten a series of horses that makes those estimated ratings very unlikely to be far wrong. Yeah. Whereas Kaying Rising is, spending a lot of his time winning with the handbrake on and beating the same horses. It is interesting that the sprinting scene below Kaying Rising just drops away so quickly. There really is not much in the world to push him at the moment. We threw the best of what we've got at the moment there, and there's some very good horses. Probably the best of the rest is what we've got to offer, but we certainly don't have a Jimmy Star and Giga Kick are probably our 2 best sprinters at the moment. I think Jimmy, having won pretty well the other day, probably deserves to be, take the baton there and say, okay, I'm the best Australia's got to offer, and Kaying dealt with me pretty comfortably. But there's just nothing. There's nothing out there there's no hay list for him to run down, I suppose, is the problem, and it'd be great if there was.
I think sometimes, people get outraged about the world rankings, etc. I think you just use common sense. Like, at the end of the day, you can rate it yourself and you can analyse it, and you go, Calandigan has to be the best horse in the world at the moment because he's been everywhere and he's proven it in different countries. And I reckon he goes to Japan, and it's like winning a Test series in India. Or if you're a grass court player winning the French Open on clay, like it's not easy to do what he did there and beat the best of Japan and win on their home turf in a race like that. And Kaying Rising, I guess, was the second best because I reckon it's harder to be a middle distance champ than it is a sprinting champ these days in world racing. But he went to Australia and did what he did, and then he's dominated since. So they're clearly the 2 best horses in the world. But in saying that, I would still prefer. I probably got to take something back here. I reckon Romantic Warrior for what he's been able to do. Like if he won those photos against Forever Young in the Saudi Cup, and obviously behind that Japanese horse in Dubai, it's a strong argument to say he's the best horse in the world because he does it on all surfaces and he goes in every big dance.
I think the point you're touching on there is a good one, and that is that when those lists come out, and I mean I make fun of those lists because I think some of the modelling they do is wrong, straight up wrong, the world's best rankings, and that's why everyone should come to me for the rankings, of course, Gareth. But when those lists come out, I think people ask a different question than the one they're trying to answer. All they're doing there is ranking by peak rating. Yeah, and know that, punters know, and as you're describing there, that horses are worth way more than just their peak rating. And that's sort of, it's, okay, one day for your example, someone gets hot and wins the French Open in a better style than, wins it more dominantly than someone who goes and wins Wimbledon, the Australian Open and the US Open by, in tough grinding 5-setters or whatever. And so someone then ranks them by their peak performance and says, okay, that French Open winner's the best in the world. And everyone goes, well, that's not right because the other guy we like better. I think that's what you're saying. And that's where Romantic Warrior, his peak performance, look, he hasn't run as fast as Kaying Rising in Hong Kong. He hasn't run as fast as Calandagan in 3 different countries. Calandagan puts up, by my ratings, and I think by any sensible ratings, faster performances than Romantic Warrior. But you're right to say that Romantic Warrior is also something else. He's got longevity, he's versatile, he's consistent, and he's travelled it and he's done it on different surfaces. And they're things that punters hold dear and that race fans hold dear, and so they should. So that's where the case for Romantic Warrior being the better, you could say I wouldn't, and certainly not after Sunday I wouldn't, but you could say Romantic Warrior is the better horse, if not the higher rated one.
Well, if you had, sometimes I weigh it up like this, if you had a World Series, all right, and you had to go, it's like, say if it was like the Grand Slam in tennis, and they had to go and compete in different jurisdictions on different surfaces, like Romantic Warrior is the best horse in the world, you'd back him to get the most amount of points because you can trust him and you'd get, so... But
I think if we switched down to a mile, Calandagan would probably struggle to go him at a mile, and then he'd flick onto the dirt. And we have no evidence that Calandagan would go on dirt, and my guess is they wouldn't want to even think about it.
Yeah.
So you're right. Romantic Warrior has done things that Calandagan hasn't.
I was too scared to ask him because, you don't like to compare horses, but I'll ask you because it's good.
I love to compare horses, Gareth. That's all I do.
It's a good pub talk. I was going to ask James McDonald this, or maybe Zach. If Kaying Rising and Romantic Warrior went to head-to-head over 1,500 metres or a mile, who would you back? Maybe 1,500 would be fair, halfway between 1,000 and 2,000.
Yeah, I think Kaying Rising actually switches off okay and
Yeah.
probably would just about get 1,500. It's a very good question. I remember this debate being the, I don't know if you remember back the Black Caviar Frankel days,
Yes,
and there was talk that they'd let Black Caviar have a rip at him over the sharp mile down the hill at Goodwood there, and I shuddered. I thought, oh God, he's going to hurt you. I tend to think I'd want the horse that's sort of coming back rather than reaching. I think I'd probably want, I think once we got to 1,501 metres, Kaying's speed, and Romantic Warrior doesn't lack for speed. He doesn't have Kaying speed, of course, but he might just be able to hold on to his tail for long enough that all of a sudden when the lungs started to really burn and things turned aerobic from the anaerobic, Romantic Warrior might start to, make him really feel. It'd take a smart ride. You'd have to use Romantic Warrior early and you'd have to sort of, as I said, you'd have to make Kaying hurt, but he potentially could. He could blow him up.
Yeah, let's make it happen, Wilfred.
Let's make it happen.
Let's make it. Well, we might do that.
$15 million George Ryder.
Yes. Let's
make the George Ryder great again. I'll get the hats made.
Let's do that next week, all right? That could be a little bit of fun. We'll have 5 races that if we had our say in the racing game and we could get it to happen, we would want this to happen. So Kaying Rising, the Romantic Warrior over 1,500 metres, maybe Calandagan and Romantic Warrior in a 2-horse war, one on turf, one on dirt, and we can go on and on. So maybe
Riasa v Pride of Jenny.
Yes. We'll pick our top 5, and we'll discuss that next week. What about the Winterbottom Stakes? He could have went quicker. Overpass. I reckon he was disappointing Overpass after analysing that race there the other day.
Yep, no doubt. He was. As you say, there wasn't a lot of pressure in it. The time figure's only a couple of pounds faster than Cessation earlier, who's a 101 rated mare. Good mare and very well ridden by Luke Campbell's Cessation, but gives us a good idea of how to run the right sort of time around there. They went slower, but not. I still think it's a disappointing time. And as you say, Overpass on speed probably didn't use his sort of mid-race weapon the way that they could have and should have and would if they had another go at it, I dare say. But at the same time, entitled to get home faster than 34.5 or something. He's quicker than that. Ray Magnerio and Rope the Min are ripping him down at the finish, and Libertad too strong. So no, he certainly walked away from there having, I don't want to say embarrassed himself because he's had such a great record over there, but he dusted himself a little bit there. That wasn't the real Overpass. And
he goes to 1,400 metres now, which would be interesting. He's the second favourite behind Joker's Grin, who's still a 50-50 chance of pushing on. Ray McNerio will be going there. This is the Gold Rush I speak of. And it's an interesting market now. So Joker's Grin, $4. Rope them in, $5, who was fourth there the other day in the winner bottom. Overpass 550 goes there. Ray McNeiro, $6. King of Light won't go there. Western Empire will at $6.50, but he'll be coming back from a northerly. Super Spink, same program. I know she goes straight to the Gold Rush now, I think at $9. Then Watch Me Rock will probably come back as well from the 1800 of the northerly a week early to the 1400 at $13. Then Cosmic Crusader at $15. So
it's a good carnival over there, isn't it?
Yeah, it is a great carnival.
It works really well. You get that. It's very easy, I must say, as someone who sort of drifts in and out of Perth and sort of follows the top line of it. It's very easy to jump on board at this time of year and pick up the thread and know where you're at. It's a good system. It's a good program. So, northerly this week. Coonji Trial of the West.
Who wins the northerly before we let you go? Is it King of Light, or is it the Guineas form, or is it the Railway Stakes form, or is it some Sydney form like a Vivier?
I'll probably take Vivier on. Yep. It's very interesting to see how King of Light steps up there. I think only Arcadia Queen and Amelia's Jewel have been better than him in the Guineas, and they both won this. So I think the Guineas, the 3-year-olds have overachieved a little bit, and Railway form has been sort of something to, I don't say something to avoid, but it's slightly underwhelmed the market over the last 10, 15 years. I've seen that stat floating around. So maybe looking for something a little bit different, although times will tell you that the Railway was the better race than King of Light, but he was finishing full of running and he's got Pike. Don't know. Cosmic Crusader probably. The boys here will go absolutely. It'll be great they all backed him to win the Railway. He didn't get a run, so I will absolutely delight in him winning the northerly by 10.
Yes, for Uncle Bob. Good on you, mate. Thanks for that. And hey, make sure you get your top 5 dream matchups or races that you want to see. We'll analyse that
the next
week.
6 nights dreaming.
Yeah, see you, mate. Bye. There's Adam Blenko there from racingandsports.com. We'll take the news. Guy Moldcast not far away.
Good morning, making SEN News headlines. Power price pain is skyrocketing, with new data showing the number of Australians struggling to pay their bills soaring. Over 205,000 households across the nation are on an energy payment plan, a rise of 50% over 3 years. Claims 1 million new homes could be created if it was easier for Australians to subdivide their properties. Disgraced former Prince Andrew has been officially stripped of his honours amid a delay to his eviction from his 30-room mansion. And actor Callum Turner tipped to be the next James Bond 007. Coming up, SEN Sport. Marnus Labuschagne has backed Usman Khawaja to keep his spot at the top of the order for the second Ashes Test starting in Brisbane on Thursday.
He's been really the rock of at the top there. But I mean, I'm not a selector. Whatever happens is all up to the people above my pay grade.
And for Unibet, gamble responsibly. NFL today, the Patriots host the New York Giants.
Plenty of racing awaits this season. Find it all at mrc.racing.com.
Join the conversation. Text us on 0499 736 736. This is Giddy Up with Gareth Hall.
Welcome back to Giddy Up 0499 736 736 to join our conversation. It was a terrible ride by Joshy Parr. Well, he had his opportunity. I reckon Josh Parr rode a smart race in a way where he thought if he set a pretty solid tempo, it would suit Joker's Green, who would be able to get into the race somehow and be hard to hold out in the concluding stages. But I don't know if Josh realised that he missed the kick and went back to the inside, and by sprinting like he did, it did allow a horse like a Libertad to get pretty close. But it was only that horse that could beat him, really, because as Robbie Griffiths pointed out, when you got Ray McNerio on the race, they went too slow for him to really make up that ground. And you know what? I reckon at the start of the race, if you say that Josh Parr was going to go that slow and Joker's Grim was going to get back on the fence and Libertad was the only horse that was going to beat him, I reckon most said, all right, then I don't think that would have happened. But really, Libertad went super. And he lived up to that good fourth in a champion sprint before heading to Perth. And the Archibalds had some day, didn't they? They're on Saturday. They had winners in Brisbane, Perth, Melbourne and Sydney. I don't know how many times that's been done, if it's been done ever. So they had a day to remember. It's 20 minutes to 10 o'clock. Guy Moldcastle will join me next here on Giddy Up.
Plenty of racing awaits this season. Find it all at mrc.racing.com.
Join the conversation. Text us on 0499 736 736. This is Giddy Up with Gareth Hall. Join the conversation on 0499 736 736. Welcome to Breeding, Bloodstock and Banter with Gareth Hall and the Captain.
The Captain, Guy Mulcaster, joins us now in Giddy Up. G'day, Guy.
Oh, good morning, Gareth. How are you today?
Good, thank you. Where are you today? You started to inspect those yearlings ahead of the Magic Million sale?
Yeah, I went to Rosemont yesterday on a very cold 1st of December, and I'm just about to head on into Yulong this morning.
Okay, that'll be pretty busy at Yulong, I would imagine. How many yearlings are they offering up there at the Gold Coast?
About 65, Gareth.
And so do you just look at the Magic Millions yearlings, or do you have a look at some of their other younger horses that will be going around at the Premier Sales or be sold at Easter?
I think we'll just deal with the Magic Millions ones today, and we'll get to the other ones later on.
So you're in Victoria first of all. What'd you make of Anthony Mithen's draft there at Rosemont? G'day, Mitho.
It's a beautiful property, and they've got some pretty nice horses heading up to the Gold Coast.
Yeah, and when do you head to the Hunter Valley?
I'm heading north as we speak. So going to 3 farms today, and then a couple tomorrow, and then 4 or 5 the next day, and should be at the at Coolmore by Friday.
Does this make or break your decision making if you don't like them on the farm, or do you give them another chance when they get to the complex?
There's over 1,000 to see, Gareth, so it's either in or out today.
Yeah, so do you see this a little bit more often these days instead of going to the complex looking at them for a second and third time, that it's basically you got to like them as you get to these farms these days?
Yeah, but we'll give a few a second chance and that sort of thing, and we'll ask the people from the farms if some of them have improved in the 6 weeks since we've seen them and that sort of thing. So it's a bit of a juggling act, but it all seems to work out pretty well.
How do you go looking at these horses these days? Obviously, there's a few horses that are ready to go and they are bred to be sold in a way, and you're trying to make sure that you can find a good racehorse as well. What's the secret of working all of that out there, Guy?
Well, there's no real secret, Gareth. If you just you look at them and you see what you think they're going to turn out to be, and you look at how they develop and what sort of results the farms have, and it all goes into a melting pot, and you come up with your decisions at the end. Any
stallions that have been impressing you lately?
Well, I've only just started, Gareth, but I'll know more in about 2 weeks' time. I'll be able to give you a full and comprehensive report.
Any stallions that you're looking forward to seeing their progeny for the first time, Captain? Have you heard anything on the grapevine?
No, you don't worry about those whispers. If we listened to those whispers, we would have had the 2 favourites winning the big race in Perth on the weekend, and it didn't happen, did it?
What'd you make of Libertad's victory there on Saturday?
Yeah, well, Bjorn's horse was there to win and just got run down the last couple of hops. But I suppose, you being on the ground for the whole week, you would have got the late mail and got on the right one at 20-1, wouldn't you?
No, I didn't actually. With the race being run like it was, maybe you could have looked back and you thought, geez, how would he start that price, Libertad? But I couldn't have Libertad to save myself, to tell you the truth, and that's why, I struggle these days. But he was at 20-1. I want to know, will he make it as a stallion now, being a son of Russia Revolution? Will he get many opportunities by winning that Group 1 there, Guy?
Probably depends on what he does in the next few starts, really, Gareth, and it depends who's looking for him and who's going to stand him and that sort of thing. But maybe winning a Group 1 in Perth would give him a good chance to stand in Perth.
Okay, so that could be his home, you reckon, heading back there, the son of Russian Revolution.
You never know.
No.
You do never know.
Are you with the 3-year-old or the older horses going into the other Group 1 this weekend, the Northerly, Captain?
I think barriers probably make a little bit of difference. I thought Billy Pike's horse was pretty good the other day, and I think 52 kilos, he gets that weight relief off the other one, so it'll be interesting to see, but I'd say the barrier draw will be out later today, won't it?
Yes, it will, at 4:30 Western time, so that's 7:30 in the east. So the field's already out. But the barrier draw is a little later on. It's an important barrier draw too there for the Northerly, because it's the 1,800 metre start right next to Northerly Lodge, and you've got to go to a rounded bend within the first 50 or so metres, 100 metres anyway. So if you draw wide, you basically got to go back to last, or you're caught wide anyway because that turn comes up a little too quick there, guys. So that'll be interesting to see how that all pans out. Have you got a winner for us, the captain's pick?
Honestly, haven't done much study on the fields this week, Gareth, but why don't we go with the Billy Pike horse in that Northerly?
King of Light.
King of Light. That'll do. It's 52 kilos.
Yeah.
Billy will have him right up on the bunny and he'd be hard to beat.
Couple of questions coming through for you, Captain. What would Benedetta be worth as a broodmare?
Pretty hard to say. I'd say, if she goes through the June sale, I'd say she'd be quite well sought after, but putting a monetary value on it's not really something for the radio station, is it?
Yes, well, my radio show, you can say whatever you want, Captain. We don't really care.
I can say whatever I like, but if you want a written valuation, please submit it by email.
Yes. Last one. Have you got any winners? Have you got any 2-year-olds that we should be looking out for, Guy?
Oh, there's half a dozen trialling today in Sydney, but they haven't been yet, but they're looking promising, so we'll watch out for those.
Beautiful. We'll keep a close eye on it. Well, we wish you the best of luck with the inspections. Hopefully Mr. Zhang looks after you.
Yeah, I'd say he'll have a nice cup of tea and a bit of a cake or something for us, Gareth.
Who do you go with?
Just on my own today.
Well, that'd be because, to be honest, who would bloody want to be put up with you, basically? Imagine putting up with you, Mr. Grumpy, on the road for 3 hours down the highway.
I was going to take you and you could have done your show from the passenger seat.
I would have loved that. Smoking darts, going with you, being Grumpy. I would have to do everything, drive and do the show.
Hey, and open the gate.
Yes. Have a good day, Captain. See ya.
Wonderful, Gareth, and I'll see you next Tuesday at 9:30 a.m.
Beautiful.
Not 9:47.
Yeah, I apologise for that. We just got carried away today. Unbelievable.
I thought you were still on Perth time.
Yeah, that's what I thought. That's why he was upset, because I didn't get to him when we should have. Sorry, I'll make sure I'm on time next week, Guy. Have a good day.
Perfect, Gareth, and say have a wonderful day.
Yes.
Have you got any winners for the trots?
Well, what have we got today with the trots? How long have I got before this break? 20 seconds. I've got one for you. Where is it? Darren Carroll. He sent it nice and early. Here we go. Shepparton, race 6, number 9, My Mate Ace. And race 7, number 5, Totally Stunning. Drop into Shepparton on the way home from the Gambie. We've got to go to a break, Captain. Have a good day.
See ya.
Plenty of racing awaits this season. Find it all at mrc.racing.com.
Join the conversation. Text us on 0499 736 736. This is Giddy Up with Gareth Hall.
Welcome back to Giddy Up. We've got the midweek masterclass coming up next. Then we've got trial time, the Bet365 Country Racing Hour. Looking forward to that. And then we'll find you some winners with bag of tips. And then Facing the Breeze, a special Facing the Breeze with Toby McKinnon from Harness Racing Australia. They've got a new rating system in the sport of harness racing. So if you're watching us, and we're streaming live on Facebook and also our YouTube channel, go to our Facebook page. If you've got a question, just let us know in the comment area there on Facebook, and I can ask a question for you as well if you're watching us on the stream today with Toby McKinnon, who'll be in the studio. Anthony Butt will be joining us as well to go through these changes with Harness Racing Australia. News time.
Good morning, I'm Nate Gardner with SEN News. The ADF continues to closely monitor Chinese warships cruising the Philippine Sea. It's just 8 months after another Chinese flotilla conducted live fire drills off Australia's east. It comes amid a major overhaul of the Defence Department, where 3 groups within the ADF will be rolled into one. Labor's Amanda Rishworth telling Nine it's about improving the quality of the $70 billion defence spend.
It's about focused on delivery and making sure that the money we're committing to defence is actually delivering, importantly, in the assets we need for some of the strategic challenges we have into the future.
South Australian egg farmers are urging customers to consider supporting local producers. It's due to demand for their product dropping significantly in recent months. A faster than expected industry recovery from a bird flu outbreak a year ago has led to an oversupply. Tasmania's much-loved fireworks tradition, Cracker Night, could be killed off due to the Victorian government's red tape. Key supplier Bright Star Fireworks has been told it can no longer ship fireworks through the Port of Melbourne to Tasmania because they're now considered illegal under the Dangerous Goods Act. New polling has found 1 in 4 men from Generation X say they would vote for One Nation if an election was held today. And today, the federal government will release its national plan to deal with ever-evolving artificial intelligence technology. Coming up, SEN Sport. In cricket, Victoria is hosting WA in the One Day Cup today. Former cricketer Michael Slater has had his life membership and Hall of Fame status at Cricket New South Wales revoked following his domestic violence conviction. And for Unibet, gamble responsibly. A tough ask for the 2-10 New York Giants in the NFL today, taking on the Patriots, who have lost just 2 games this season.
Plenty of racing awaits this season. Find it all at mrc.racing.com.
Join the conversation. Text us on 0499 736 736. This is Giddy Up with Gareth Hall. On Giddy Up, it's now time for the Midweek Masterclass.
Now time for the Midweek Masterclass as we try and find you a few winners right across the country on a Wednesday afternoon. We're racing at Warwick Farm, the Heath Track at Caulfield, Ipswich, Belmont, Balaclava, and we're at Launceston with that night meeting. Let's welcome in Mark Roden. First of all, g'day to you, Mark.
G'day, Gareth. How are we this morning?
Good, thank you, mate. Warwick Farm, we've got 6 races on a soft 5 at the moment.
Yeah, it'll be good for. There's only 6 races because there's 6 metro and provincial meetings up there between Wednesday and Sunday,
Yes.
so something had to give, I suppose.
Where do we start with your place?
Look, I've got to be honest, I'm not hugely looking forward to this meeting.
Yes.
I found a couple, but not great confidence. Start in race 4. This is a pretty ordinary mares, benchmark 72, 5-year-old and upwards mares too, so they've been around this lot. I've landed on number 3, Kingston Charm. Doesn't win too often. She does get back in her races too. But back to midweek grade, and as I said, this is a pretty ordinary race with Nash on. I think she's the best value of the main chances in the market at around $6.
Yep.
Very good jockey change. She closed up well enough at Newcastle in a slightly stronger race against the males as well last time. If Nash can just get her into some sort of position before the turn and get her to the outside, I think it can run well. There's nothing in the market is, that trustworthy a horse anyway. So something's going to bob up and find its day tomorrow, and I think Kingston Charm is as good a chance as any and a nice price.
Anything else, mate?
We'll go just over to race 5, 2,400 metre race. Bestower's been well backed. It's into around 250 or something now. Hasn't won a race since April 2024 and has been placed 12 or 13 times since. So hard to trust him at that sort of price. Sting in the tails. He's just a horse, but he's racing really well. He won in this race at this track 2 starts ago, then stepped up to the 2,400 on the Saturday race and was beaten half a length. He's going fine. He's ready for 2,400 now. He's had the 2,400 right under his belt, and he's a much better price than Bestower. He's about 480, so I'd rather go with him, number 7, Sting in the tail.
Let's hope there's plenty of sting in our punting tomorrow, mate. We appreciate that, Mark.
No worries at all. Clear.
There's Mark Roden. Check out racingqueensland.com.au for where Queensland is racing today. We're at Ipswich on a Wednesday afternoon. Chris Nelson joins us. G'day, Chriso.
Good morning, Gareth. Yeah, Ipswich tomorrow and 10 races on what will be a good track because the weather's beautiful up here at the moment.
And we've got prices as well, which is terrific.
They must have just come out because I checked those about half an hour ago. Didn't see anything. So there you go. That might make me change my mind. But anyway, we will stick with these as I quickly bring some of them up. Race 3. Now, this is a good little race. So I originally liked number 1, 10 Good Reasons. Impendor's got form. Bundella and a Bender do too. But there's one that should be value now. I'll just check the price as I do that. Yeah, he's a bit of value. Yep. Number 9, Meet George. Now, Meet George has had 3 runs this time in. 2 of them have been Saturday grade. They are the last couple. And they've both been quite okay. Now, I like him dropping back to 1,100 metres. I think that's more suitable for him. He'll settle in a reasonably close position. He just tumbles at the weights. I mean, he finds an easier race, and he's coming down from 60 kilos last start to 54. So whilst I'm respecting those ones at the top, I think he's got a really good each-way chance here at a good price. So we'll go with number 3, and that's, race 3, number 10, Meet George. Now, the other at this stage, just one other for me this early, and that is race 5, number 9, You, Me and Dupree, or Dupre, however you want to pronounce that. 2 runs back have been quite good. I like the way that he finished off at the Gold Coast in a maiden last time out behind Chicago King. That was 1,200 metres. He gets to 1,350 here. And a couple of these ones in the market, Enforceable and Swag, they'll probably come out due to wide gates. So I think, once again, Martin Harley jumps on for Team Months here. We know how well they're going. This one will run well. That's race 5, number 9, You, Me and Dupree.
So
I don't know. What is it, Gareth? Dupree or Dupre?
Yeah, Dupre. So that's $5 and $8 there with the opening markets.
Yes. That'll probably shorten up that one in race 5 a little bit due to scratchings, but at this stage, they're good odds. So hopefully we can add to those tomorrow morning.
Beautiful. Good on you, Chriso. Thanks for that.
Thanks, Gareth. Cheers.
Mitchy Lewis joins us. He's had a look at the Heath and the Balaclava meeting, and he's with us now. G'day, Mitch.
Morning, G.
We had Ethan Brown on today. I said, mate, it'd be disappointing if you don't get 3 winners at least there tomorrow.
Yeah, I was tuning in, and look, it was good to hear Chakudo that he was pretty keen on.
Yep.
Look, you don't really have to be a genius to find it. It had a bit better value last night when I did the form, G, but yeah, that probably looks the standout one to me. Just the winner there at Sale, very nice. Second last start behind a handy horse in Touchdown who's going to go around below even money later in the card. So this is a slightly easier race. Chakodo probably looks one of the better ones on the program.
I had Brownie winning 3 at least. Chakudo will win. I reckon Storm Season will be mighty hard to beat. I reckon she's pretty good, Storm Season. That's race 4, number 6, around that $3 quote. Edgerton run a big race. And then the horse in the last race he rides, Empire of Pain, I reckon can break through.
Yep. I was just working through, we'll go through the full card tomorrow.
Yep.
I was just quickly going through the ones that weren't better, but Empire of Pain was one that I had, and in race 2, Job Done, I thought might have been worth some value there. Faraway Dream, very impressive, but Barrier 12 was a bit of a worry.
Yeah. What about your plays already for this Heath meeting then?
So Chakudo was one.
Yes.
It's obviously been well supported. Look, I liked Pick and Mix in race 5. It's going to race up on speed, be in a prominent position. First up here, 2 from 2, first up. We want a good track for this horse. It's a winner on the synthetic who only does its best on the good, so it probably certainly gets that. And then the value one, race 6, horse number 6, Untapped. He's second up here. He was a winner second up last prep. He went around at $4.40 last start at BM70. He drops in grade, and we're currently floating between that $6 and $7 price. So he looks an each-way player for a horse that will get a good run.
Beautiful. Anything at Balaclava, or is that it there at Caulfield?
That's it for me at Caulfield. Like I said, I don't mind the card as a whole, G, but we'll go through the whole thing tomorrow. At Balaclava, no markets. I won't give too much away just yet, just in case I made to look like a mug. But race 7, number 4, See You Later Baby, was second here about 3 weeks ago. I think we'll be fitter for that run second up. Gets a similar run to what it should do with a little bit of speed in the race.
Beautiful. So that's race 7, number 4. Is that it?
Yep, correct.
Yep. See You Later Baby. And that benchmark 58 for Travis Dowdle and Benny Price. Good on you, Mitchie. We'll catch up with you tomorrow, mate.
Looking forward to it, mate. I'll chat to you then.
And at Belmont, the Western Whisperer has said his plays there. We've got no prices out just yet. 7 races there tomorrow. I'm going to start off in race number 5, and he is playing each way. Who's he got here? It is number 1, Sun Bronze each way. So that's interesting. Race 5, number 1. And he's also keen on race 7, number 3, True Blue Bondi for Miller and Pike, despite the gate. So that's race 7, number 3. That is the midweek masterclass. We'll come back with trial time next here on Giddy Up.
Plenty of racing awaits this season. Find it all at mrc.racing.com.
Join the conversation. Text us on 0499 736 736. This is Giddy Up with Gareth Hall.
Now on Giddy Up, it's time for Trial Time with Dean Watling.
Welcome in, Dean Watling, now for trial time here on Giddy Up. G'day, Dino.
Morning, G. How are you?
I'm very well. I've had to call an emergency selection meeting, basically, regarding the Macca's Run weekend preview top 4 multi. Like, unbelievable stuff, Dino, going back to the 2-year-olds. I don't know if that was in your 12 points of advice there for the punters, that no 2-year-old racing with your top 4 plays. I reckon we'll have to take that out. That could be number 13, I reckon, these days.
I don't mind it, G. I went back to my old habits, but hey, I know it was on me. I was hoping one of you others would fail too, so it wasn't all on me, but you all got home. So no, I put my hand up, G, bad, and the week before was bad as well.
So do you know what we need to do? We probably need to get you like doorstop when you head out of your house these days, just to get a response, have a media conference, really, under pressure, Dino. I was thinking, who's under more pressure, Usman Khawaja or Dean Watling after what happened there on the weekend? It's a line ball.
Yeah, I might come out. I might go play some golf, G. That's what Usman seems to do, so we bounce back.
And what about, he got on the text message there yesterday, he goes, Gareth, stop picking on my mate Zach Lloyd. Like, how dare you? He's a great man. I love him. What
about you? You went straight to water when he commented.
No, I
called in the backup.
No, I didn't. I said, well, do you know what? It's right. He was very lucky there, Dino, to not to lose that race. And, there's some people saying, like, that he had enough time and the stewards had to have to be 100% that horse was going to beat that other horse there in that protest. And I completely understand that. But if you get interfered with at the 700-metre mark and it's a red-hot leader's track and you find the inside, the other horse has to pop off the fence and you cost it a length and a half, there's no doubt in the world that horse would have won if the interference didn't happen. So I think it sets a dangerous precedent if you want to think like that. I think you've got to take everything into consideration. And as I said, early spots are crucial and they can be the difference between winning and losing. And we hear it all of the time with our form experts when we recap races. The perfect example is the other day with Persian Spirit. Many say that Harry Coffey needed to be a spot closer. Instead, he lets, say, Sharippa in and then he gets beat by that margin he did. Now, what I'm saying is that early spots are crucial into where you finish. So it's an interesting debate. Anyway.
They are. It's very true. Jane, that's why James McDonald is probably the best, because he puts his horses into races, and more often than not, when you put a horse into a race, they fire up and they have the best run. But you leave my boy Zachy Law. I think he's on holidays. He's not down in the form guide tomorrow. So.
Yeah, because he got suspended for cutting off Tommy. That's why.
Is that why? I thought he might be on some emotional stress leave after your comments.
No, he loved it, Zachy. He loved it. He's a good man. Hey, what about, would you have upheld or dismissed that protest?
Well, I was on the winner, Jay, so I would have dismissed it for sure.
All right, then. Thanks for that. Take your emotion out. Would you still would have? Because I've seen you get emotional before with protests, and you get straight onto social media.
Yeah, I'm more so in your category, G. I think there's too many rules around it to rule on. I think a lot of it, you come down to common sense.
Yes.
Which I know it's hard when it's not black and white like that, but I can definitely see your point. It's just so hard when it's early on in the race because, like you said, a lot can unfold post that. But
it's not that hard. It's not that hard when the steward say it costs you a length and a half and you get beat a quarter of a length.
Yeah, that's the grey area. I think there was one in the carnival as well. I'm trying to think what the race was. Gano wasn't happy about it down the straight there. So, I mean, there's been plenty of them. And I think the inconsistent with them between states and that always grazes up. So that's a good debate to have, G.
What about living thing for Johnny O'Shea and Tommy Charlton as we start your top 5 trials? It's number 5.
It is number 5. I'm going to hope to get a quick return straight on this. Zach Lloyd was in the saddle for both these trials, but he won't be riding there tomorrow. Sam Clipperton in the saddle. So A horse that's come back each prep a tiny bit better, and this prep I think it's come back the best yet. It goes around there in the last race 6 at Warwick Farm tomorrow. Back-to-back good trials. Do note the blinkers come off tomorrow and didn't wear the blinkers in the trials. Lovely horse in the sense it's tactically versatile in its pattern, and I really like the trials leading in. So number 5 this week, Living Thing.
Another one for Kim Moore. We didn't get to see that horse there last week for Kim Moore, did we? National Service?
No, National News.
National News, yeah.
So this week is for Bright Burn. One word. I know I've written 2 words for your text message, but it is one word. And like you mentioned, Kim's had a couple of nice ones step out. A very similar horse to National News put into both trials. The latest was the pick of him. The first trial, a little bit green in its stride, sort of feet everywhere, but the latest trial put it together. And on National News, G was scratched out of that race and hasn't been nommed. So I'll double check, but I'm guessing maybe a slight setback there. So I'll check rider to see if it's still active as well post show.
Ocean Empress for Jared Austin is number 3.
Yeah, he's underrated trainer. I really like him, especially first and second up with his horses. One that came out of trial, Black Book, we backed first up and then it failed, but then won dominantly down there in Canberra second up. So he's a good trainer, does know how to get him going fresh, and he's been back-to-back good trials. The latest, throttled down, really sharp overall time, was the fastest of the heats of the morning. So Ocean Empress, ready to go the race now for Jared Austin.
Nathan Doyle has Mercy Me that's trialled nicely at number 2.
Yeah, he's had a bit of a flat spot, Nathan. He's one of my favourite trainers, especially first, second up and off the trials. He probably just doesn't have the greatest stock at the minute, but Mercy Me, style $1.85 on debut, failed there, spelled some 21 weeks and back-to-back really, really impressive trials. Ready to go the races now, and there's no more astute stables first and second up that I like than Nathan Doyle. Look for Ashley Morgan to jump in the saddle too. Jumped in the second trial, and if he sticks race day, it's always a nice push there.
And Graffiti Tycoon, I should say, for O'Shane Charlton once again. It's your number 1 trialer.
Yep, number 1 this week. Comes out of the Black Book from last week. We haven't had a whole lot of trials this week, but I really love this piece of work. Did it much better than a horse called Farnished G, who goes around in race 1 tomorrow there for Waterhouse and Botton's being gelded. So we'll get a good line straight away off that. That was its debut trial versus Farnish, who's a horse who's had a couple of starts and was its second trial. So if we can forecast improvement off that, look for a second trial now over a little bit further. And I think that horse will be winning plenty of races. So O'Shea Charlton, they're up and about at the minute in the off-season. Obviously Yorkshire back, but hopefully Graffiti Tycoon can come out and win on debut for us first up.
Any horses that we should be backing?
Yeah, well, number one from last week. G goes around tomorrow. Ice Cool in the first race there. Jason Colt, David Fife have been hammered in the market. That's the query. Just the price, maybe weight. I think it'll get out. And the other one that we had, G, was out of today's Black Book. Obviously, Living Thing in the last there at Warwick Farm, and another horse in that race, Steel Strike, comes out of our Black Book too. I think you can back both those now.
Do you know why they've been well back, Dino? Because they've been your number 1 trialers. See, they just jump aboard. Ice Cool, $2.80 into $1.95 with Bet365. Good on you, mate.
Thanks, G. Appreciate it.
There's Dean Watling there.
Trial time with Matty Morton.
Trial guy joins us now. Matty, you've got Helsing that caught your eyes. Your number 5 trialer at Flemington on Friday for the Inform Archibald campus. I say hello to you.
Yeah, good morning, Gareth. Good morning, listeners. Straight into it at Flemington last Friday. Imported galloper Helsing produced a number of good runs last campaign after over a year off, subsequent to his Australian debut. It was a decent comeback, and with 6 months break this time around, Helsing looks to have returned in good order. A couple of jump outs 2 weeks apart culminated in the good performance at Flemington on Friday, where he did all his own donkey work out in front before pulling away again late and running through the line strongly. With a decent draw at 1,400 metres plus, Helsing could be right in the finish early in his campaign this season.
Graham Begg's on fire. You found excels from Monday's Cranbourne jump outs.
Yeah, Graham Begg trained filly Excels was disappointing on debut, but circumstances were against her there. I'm prepared to forgive that run, and she's had one aborted campaign since, another 4-month spell since that aborted campaign. Looks to have returned in much better order this time round and was impressive at Cranbourne yesterday. Jumped straight to the lead from a wide draw and maintained that position close to the outside fence in the unit throughout. She tagged along under Geordie Childs and never looked like being beaten in spite of taking some some others taking cushy runs up the inside. The time was quick. I think it was the quickest of the morning, and the handbrake was fully engaged. I'll look out for another warm-up soon before Excel tackles race day. Looks promising in spite of her debut performance.
What about the stablemate Mystic Rain, who's your number 3 trialer there from Monday at Cranbourne?
Absolutely. Lightly raced Mystic Rain was quickly put aside after a subpar performance last campaign, but looks in much better order this time round. She moved well throughout under Geordie Childs again yesterday, and even though she ran second to a hard-ridden metallic ruler, Mystic Rain definitely took top honours for mine. I'd expect one more before race day, but well worth putting in the black book for now.
You found Behaviour from Gavin Bedgood's camp as well at Cranbourne yesterday, and Behaviou's your number 2 trialer.
Yeah, it was certainly a big day at the trials at Cranbourne. Gavin Bedgood did an excellent job with Behaviour last season after that horse arrived from the Wallet stable subsequent to a tibia fracture. With one solid campaign under his belt for the new year, Behaviour looks ready to go on with the job now off the mark of 72. After a quiet effort last week where he was asked to do nothing, and it was a very quiet effort, Behaviour put in an eye-catching performance yesterday. He sat in behind the speed before moving up stylishly in the straight to win with plenty in hand. Second filly, Illy Ivy, hit the line well. Looks another to note with one more under her belt for freshman trainer Casey Bazenko, who's looking for her first winner. That aside, look out for Behaviour soon. Looks certain to add to his tally this campaign.
And He's Regal is your number 1 trialer.
Yes, you were talking about 2-year-olds and first starters. I've had a pretty good run so far this season with the first starter 2-year-olds, including Wallers on Saturday. Unraced Zoostar 2-year-old He's Regal looks another handy prospect for the Price Kent team. Has plenty of toe, and that's no surprise given that he's out of a handy sister to front page who raced under the name of Newsgirl. He's Regal made $500K last Easter and looks set to offer some return on that investment soon. 2 jump outs have both been stylish in spite of attempts to keep the speedy colt under wraps. A futile attempt at restraint was soon overcome yesterday morning when He's Regal soon slipped up the inside before winning with plenty in hand. A debut victory would not be any surprise whatsoever.
So there you go. Helsing, which is one word, Hellsing. 4 is Excels, EXCELS. 3, Mystic Rain, MYSTIC, new word Rain, REIGN. 2 is Behaviour, BHAVIOUR. And 2 words, He's Regal, HESREGAL. There for the Price and Kent Junior Camp.
Absolutely.
Go and get him. Any black bookers for us, mate, that we should be punting this week?
Yeah, we've got one from a couple of weeks ago. It turns up at Caulfield tomorrow in race 2. Number 4, Job Done. And hopefully he does get the job done.
Love your work. Thanks for that, trial guy.
Cheers.
Let's head to the news.
Good morning, making SEN News headlines. The TGA has released a safety alert over the potential risk of suicidal thoughts and behaviours for those taking weight loss medications. The AMA, however, says there isn't enough evidence to back up the claims. Today, the federal government will release its national plan to deal with ever-evolving artificial intelligence technology. Closing arguments begin today in the murder trial over the 2018 death of Toya Cordingley in Cairns. And new polling has found 1 in 4 men from Generation X say they would vote for One Nation if an election was held today. Up next, SEN Sport. In cricket, Victoria is hosting WA in the One Day Cup today. Former cricketer Michael Slater has had his life membership and Hall of Fame status at Cricket New South Wales revoked following his domestic violence conviction. And for Unibet, gamble responsibly. A tough ask for the 2-10 New York Giants in the NFL today, taking on the Patriots, who have lost just 2 games this season.
Plenty of racing awaits this season. Find it all at mrc.racing.com.
Join the conversation. Text us on 0499 736 736. This is Giddy Up with Gareth Hall.
Great to be with you on this Tuesday morning. It's 10:32. Now, we've got the Bet365 Country Racing Hour coming up next. Looking forward to catching up with Tony Scully. He's based at Geraldton, part of the Pinnacles and their carnival in the west. They've got the regional champs. They call it the Road to Ascot. And it gives an opportunity for trainers based at Geraldton, Albany in the Great Southern, Kalgoorlie in the Goldfields to qualify their horses for a big payday, hopefully anyway, during the Pinnacles. And it was Tony Scully's galloper Bolter that flashed down the outside to make it 5 on the trot. So we'll catch up with Tony. And then Craig Newitt, he's been everywhere of late, Launceston, Ascot, been riding a lot in Victoria. He had a good night there at Launceston there the other night, and he'll join us. He's got some nice rides at Launceston tomorrow night. So we'll catch up with Craig Newitt as well. Straight after this as we get set for the Bet365 Country Racing Hour.
Plenty of racing awaits this season. Find it all at mrc.racing.com.
Join the conversation. Text us on 0499 736 736. This is Giddy Up with Gareth Hall.
Goes to the lead, 1 o'clock somewhere. Dreamers never die with Evelina charging home and getting up on the inside. Leonardo de Grey. Here comes Bolter. Bolter from Geraldton. Bolter down the outside makes it 5 straight. Big win by Bolter.
It was a big win by Bolter there, one of the highlights on Saturday. Always is those regional championships in the West when it's the road to Ascot. So Bolter defeated Evelina, who represented Peter Fernie and Kalgoorlie. Leonardo de Grey was unlucky for Ronnie Cal Jr., another Geraldton galloper. And 1 o'clock somewhere loomed up like it was going to win for the Albany team of Samantha Faithful. But just faded to finish outside of the placings, and then the Mighty Butch was back in 5th place. But Bolter was too strong. Tony Scully always does a wonderful job, and Austin Gallardi, he is on fire at the moment, and he rode another winner during the Pinnacles. So we're about to catch up with Tony in just a moment to have a chat about Bolter's success to kick off the Bet365 Country Racing Hour. And then straight after that, Craig Newett will join us. What about Froggy Newett of late? This was his week last week. He went to Ballarat on November 20, Launceston November 21, Ascot November 22, and then went to Geelong on the 26th, Mornington on the 27th, and then Queanbeyan on the 28th. Where he rode a double for his great mate Joe Cleary, including the features there and the Cup. And then he goes to Launceston tomorrow night. So he has been everywhere, Craig Newett of late. So looking forward to catching up with him. Tony Scully's not far away. We'll hopefully catch up with him in Geraldton in just a moment. We're just having trouble getting hold of him. So what we'll do is we'll knock over a break and then we'll come back with Tony and Craig.
Plenty of racing awaits this season. Find it all at mrc.racing.com.
Join the conversation. Text us on 0499 736 736. This is Giddy Up with Gareth Hall.
Goes to the lead, 1 o'clock somewhere. Dreamers never die with Evelina charging home and getting up on the inside. Leonardo de Grey. Here comes Bolter. Bolter from Geraldton. Bolter down the outside makes it 5 straight. Big win by...
One of the highlights there on Saturday was the Road to Ascot Regional Championship, when you get horses that represent all the different districts and jurisdictions in WA, from Kalgoorlie to Albany to Geraldton. And it was Geraldton that had bragging rights when Tony Scully's galloper Bolter flashed down the outside for the in-form Austin Galati to make it 5 on the trot. And Tony joins us now here on Giddy Up. Congratulations, Tony. Well done.
Yeah, morning, Gareth. Thanks for that. It was a pretty enjoyable sort of day.
Yeah, so just explain to us, how long does it take you to get to Ascot from Geraldton?
Right, Geraldton's about 4:30 k's.
Yeah.
So the horses went about 6 o'clock, and they get down there to about 10, 11, and have an hour or two at a property in the Swan Valley showing plums, and then from there they went to the races, and then back out there after the races. So it's a reasonable trip, yeah. It's probably nearly 1,000 k's all round.
And it's a terrific initiative, I reckon. So plenty of prize money up for grabs for these country gallopers. What you take home, just under $55,000. Were you expecting a performance like that from Bolter?
Yeah, look, he's been a pretty consistent horse, and I thought the form out of the heat in Geraldton was pretty good. The horse that ran second that didn't go actually just got beat in the 70-plus next start, and of course the other Geraldton horse ran third in the race, so the form stood up pretty well. And
so how long have you had Bolter for?
Look, he came to us probably about January last year.
Yeah.
He'd had a couple of runs in card. He didn't really fire on the dirt.
Yeah.
And he was a bit of a furry character, and we just had in our minds if we could get him to settle and sit back, he'd be a lot better horse. And took us a couple of runs, and then he won 2 at the end of the last prep. We gave him a break, and now he's won 3 in a row and just settling back in the field and running on. And Austin seems to have a pretty good relationship with him, and he's riding really well at the moment. So, yeah, it worked out well.
And he seems to be getting better, as you just pointed out, with his winning strike rate.
Yeah, and I honestly believe the horse will be better over 1,400. Just the way he raced, he was hit a little bit close, and he's had one run over 1,400 in Geraldton, and he won by about 4 lengths. So we think that's where we'll probably go next time, start on 1,400 for him.
And we're jumping on the Austin Galati bandwagon. We love this young kid going through the grades there, basically. He's come a long way in a short amount of time, but you use him a lot when he goes to Geraldton, especially, Austin?
Yeah, no, definitely. I take my hat off to him. He did a lot of work riding up around the northwest and Cunnamulla and Broome and all those places for a couple of years, and now he just seems to have his weight stabilised, and he's just riding, he's confident, and he's riding patiently, and he's timing his runs and doing everything you possibly ask of him.
Yeah, and how many horses are you working at Geraldton?
Oh, we've got a dozen in work here at the moment, on a couple of young ones, but yes, a dozen working.
And it's season a little bit, isn't it? You have a Geraldton season. So do you do this full-time, Tony, or you got other jobs that you need to do as well?
No, I'm full-time now.
Yep.
Geraldton season starts in early October and goes through to May, so it's really, there's 19 meetings in Geraldton, and you've got Bingy and Donga, and then Carnarvon starts after that, so it's just about all year round now.
Yeah, and what do you do with Bolter next?
Look, I'd probably run in the 70-plus in Geraldton while we can.
Yeah.
Because if he wins another one, he's going to be weighted out. And then there's a race in Perth, a possible race on Perth Cup Day. There's a 1,400, might suit him.
Any winners coming up for us at the next Geraldton meeting? When are they racing next at Geraldton? Usually it's once a week these days.
Yeah, they race here next Saturday.
Yep.
The Exciting Scourge of the West is probably our best. He's in on Saturday.
All right, then we'll put that in our black book, mate. Hey, we appreciate you coming on, and congratulations there on Saturday. And Geraldton, all the trainers, and I reckon the industry, they get bragging rights over Peter Fernie at Kalgoorlie and those Kalgoorlie trainers, and Wolfie and those trainers there, Roy Rogers and Andy Wynette there in the Great Southern at Albany.
Yeah, it's taken us a while. We actually ran second in this race with Riverdance a few years back. And then a Geraldton horse hadn't won it till last year. Ronnie Cowell won it, and now we've won Geraldton's won 2 in a row, so that's good.
Yep, on fire, mate. Hey, we appreciate you coming on, Tony. Well done on the weekend. And, yep, go and enjoy it, mate. Thanks for that.
All right, thanks, Gareth. All the best.
There we go. There's Tony Scully joining us there. Craig Newitt's been a busy man, and boy, he had a big Sunday riding for his great mate Joe Cleary there at Queanbeyan.
Then came Vermicella. She's staying close to the inside. 300 to go. Apollo Creed by more than a length to Adolphus. Then came Mathrin. Here's Vermicella. Vermicella sweeping down the centre. Rushed up to Apollo Creed and Mathrin on the far side. Vermicella hit the front. 100 metres left to go. The cup's all over. And a day to remember for Joe Cleary. He won the Thunderbolt and he won the cup with Vermicella.
So it was on Friday, that cup. Vermicella far too strong. And Craig Newitt's been everywhere. As I mentioned before, this was his week there the other day, the other week. He went everywhere. Where did he go? He was at Ballarat on November 20. He went to Launceston on the 21st. Ascot in Perth on the 22nd. And then Geelong on the 26th. Mornington on the 27th. And then he rocked up at Queanbeyan to have a big day to ride that double there for Joe Cleary. And he joins us now. Hello to you, Froggy. Thanks for your time.
No worries, Gareth.
Geez, that was a good win, wasn't it? And how was that to ride a cup winner there for your great mate Joe Cleary?
Yeah, it's very satisfying, mate. I went up there, I think we worked it out about 20, 21 years ago. I rode at Queanbeyan last and we didn't get a result that day, and I reckon I, from memory, got suspended, so it was a pretty ordinary day, but we made it a lot more successful this time.
So how did this opportunity come around?
Oh, mate, I was sitting on the couch as I'm doing right now, just on the phone to my best mate Daniel Schmidt, and he's very good friends with Joe as well, and we just happened to be talking about Joe, so he put us on a three-way chat, and we were chatting away for 10 minutes, and Joe just happened to say, "What are you doing next Friday? You can't get a rider for his horse in the cup." So I said, "Yeah, I'll come. No dramas at all." So that's how it eventuated, and yeah, it was a good day.
And you turned up and won with plenty in hand at the end of the day and was well supported as well. So obviously Joe was pretty confident.
Yeah, he was very confident. Obviously Queanbeyan's a very unique track that sort of you need to be able to know how to ride it. So that mare in the cup, she was always going to get back, so she was always going to rely on a bit of luck. But he said if she does get the luck, she'll be winning. So it was a good result, and the old horse wound back the clock and King Gutho. So we might have a little trip up to the Magic Millions in January, which would be nice as well.
Yeah, there you go. King Gutho is named after one of my favourite rugby league players. He's a good man there, Clint Gutherson. He was based at Manly for a while, and he's been everywhere. He's at Parramatta. He's at St George now, Gutho. And he's a horse that, geez, he's got an electric turn of foot on his day.
Yeah, absolutely. The race was set up for him the other day. Yeah. They went extremely hard, but he still had to get the job done with a big weight, which he did. So now he's back in form. He'll probably have one more run and then head up to the Magic Millions.
How'd you go in Perth there on Railway Stakes Day? Did you enjoy that?
Yeah, very good. He didn't ride a winner, but had a successful trip, run third in the Railway, which I think this horse he'll run really well again on Saturday in the Northerly, and then that should top him right off for the Perth Cup. So look forward to going back.
So you're going back definitely to ride there on Saturday?
Yep, definitely going back to ride Sentimental Hero in the Northerly.
Yeah.
And then all going well, we'll fly back and ride him in the Perth Cup, which I think is going to be a great chance.
Andy Ingles, who owns this horse, I was with him in Perth the other day. Geez, he was over the moon at 100 to 1. He was saying, did you back it? Gareth underestimated the Kalgoorlie Gallopers for Peter Fernie. It was a big run there, Froggy, the other day.
He ran terrific. I rode him probably a little bit upside down to how he normally races. He just stepped a bit slow, but in those big handicaps in Perth, they tend to run along a bit. So I was happy to just bide my time and ride him for a bit of luck, and he got a beautiful run through and took two very, very good horses to beat him. So I think he's probably a little bit disadvantaged at weight for age this week, but I'm sure with if they're kind enough to give us a decent barrier, we'll ride him the same way, and I'm sure he'll hit the line really well, and then he'll drop right down in the weights for the Perth Cup, which looks a perfect race for him.
And Pete Fernie's booked you there. Andy's booked you as well.
Yeah, mate, we're locked and
Beautiful.
loaded, ready to go. So, it's something to look forward to.
You need me to be your manager, Froggy. Do you know what I'll be doing, mate? I'll be telling Andy, who owns the biggest car yard nearly in regional WA at Kalgoorlie, mate, if I win you the Perth Cup, a race that you've been dreaming about all your life, you better sling me a Toyota RAV4 or something like that with all the Ks that I'm doing. Surely you could work something out.
Want to be bigger than that, mate? I've got 5 kids.
Well, what do you call it? What's the big Toyota forward drives these days?
A minivan I need.
He'll sort that out, brother. He'll sort that
Beautiful.
out.
Beautiful.
And what about Tassie, mate? How's that all been going? You've been riding plenty of winners there. Who's the best horse you're on at the moment there?
Oh, look, the carnival's starting to wind up down, sort of get into full swing down there now. So I'll be there again tomorrow night. We've got 6 rides down there, and hopefully we can snag a winner. And just look forward to the carnival upcoming. There's a weight for age race next week, which I've convinced Richie Lemming to take Bankmore over for. So he looks a nice ride that hopefully can go through the weight for age races back home, because I think they're a little bit short on numbers, and hopefully we can get a result.
Jesus, he'll be winning there, surely, Bankmore. He's been going okay as well.
Yeah, look, he probably shot up in the ratings when I won the 3-year-old Group 2 race on him at the Valley. His rating went through the roof, so he had to sort of compete against the better class horses, and they probably just had a measure of him a little bit. He's had a wind up, which is not ideal, but he's racing extremely well and consistent. So hopefully we can get another win on him.
If he shines as much as Richie's teeth, he'll be winning for fun there in Tasmania.
He'd be bolting him.
You won't beat him. Are there any winners at Launceston tomorrow night for us battlers? What's your best?
Oh, mate, I've got 6 rides. They're very small fields, but I think the horse in race 2, a horse called Spring Bean, can get a result, and the maiden for Mark Gannett, and they're probably my 2 best. And
beautiful.
Hopefully we can just snag a couple of winners, and then be back here for Geelong on the Thursday, Mornington and Cranbourne on the Friday, and then straight on the plane to Perth.
Do you catch a red eye on the way home?
Yeah, get the red eye, mate. Back for the hometown cup, Werribee Cup on Sunday. So
bloody
get the red eye back.
I don't know how you do it, mate. Do you get buggered?
Well, no, I actually quite enjoy it, and I don't have to waste a hell of a lot. So that when you're sort of at the airport on planes, if you can just have something to drink and eat, it makes it a lot better. But I quite enjoy it, and I've been doing it for a long time now, so I'm quite used to it.
Do you have a driver when you do all this travelling, or you still do it yourself?
Still do it myself, mate.
There's a few offers on the text message if you need a driver, Froggy.
Yeah, the young fella's over from Tassie now, so Jackson Radley. So I'll no doubt I'll have a companion for quite a few trips.
Well, you keep on dominating, mate, from Queanbeyan to Wascott to Launceston to Werribee and the like. So you go and get them this week, mate. And
no worries.
Yeah, make sure those boys in Perth look after you.
Will do, mate.
Good on you, Froggy. There's Craig Newitt there. That is some schedule. Unbelievable. I am tired thinking about it. I've been doing a little bit of travel of late, but geez, nothing like Froggy. And what that kills you, that red eye from Perth. It is a tough flight because you work all day, and so and the time difference is difficult. So you're flying back, that red eye. So you're flying back about 3 a.m. Eastern time, and then you arrive back in Melbourne around that 6 o'clock time, and then you got to stay up all day. So you basically don't sleep. I would imagine Froggy'd be at the front end of the plane, so you might get a couple of hours clip, but anyway, a couple of hours kip. So yeah, he is living the life. Lucky he loves what he does. It's quickly approaching 11 o'clock. We'll find you a few winners straight after the 11 o'clock news here on Giddy Up.
Hello there, I'm Nath Gardner with SEN News. The federal government's national AI plan will involve an AI safety institute. The plan, out today, will include hard rules to govern artificial intelligence and monitor the risk and dangers of the evolving tech. And Industry and Innovation Minister Tim Ayres has told Nine the plan is also focused on giving clear guidance to make sure Australians get the benefits of the technology.
To make sure that we capture the economic opportunity here in Australia, that we share the benefits, from the central business districts and the tech sector all the way through the suburbs and the regions, and that we keep Australians safe.
Ahead of the looming social media ban for under 16s on December 10, some teenagers are beginning to abandon the major social platforms for lesser-known apps such as Yope and Lemon 8. These apps take inspiration from platforms like Instagram and TikTok. Power price pain is skyrocketing, with new data showing the number of Australians struggling to pay their bills soaring. Over 205,000 households across the nation are on an energy payment plan, an increase of 50% over 3 years. 1 million new homes could be created if it was easier for Australians to subdivide their properties. It's being pushed by an economic think tank calling on governments to do more to allow more terrace housing, townhouses, low-rise apartments and dual occupancy. An English actor, Callum Turner, is reportedly being eyed off as the next James Bond 007. Up next, SEN Sport. Usman Khawaja will face a final fitness test today after he was hampered by back spasms in the first test in Perth. A decision will be made on whether he can play in the Gabba test that starts on Thursday. And thanks to Unibet, gamble responsibly. Starting soon, the final game of NFL's Week 13. The Patriots, Alfred's 11th win of the season, taking on the New York Giants.
Live on RSN and SEN Track. This is Giddy Up with Gareth Hall. The Giddy Up bag of tips for Oz Equipment Rentals, supplying equipment to the construction, mining and roadworks industries. OzEquipment.com.
Time to find you a few winners with bag of tips, all thanks to Bet365 Top Tote Plus. You'll get the best payout across all three national totes. What's gambling really costing you? The Ultima Hotel in the heart of the Mallee, just down the road from Swan Hill. Swing by for a cold beer. And Oz Equipment Rentals supply equipment to the construction, mining and roadworks industries. OzEquipment.com. Now, our Bet365 Boost Horse is Donald Race 5, number 3. I'll be there. Currently $4. That's until 12 o'clock today. So $4 until 12 o'clock today. Oscar Hyde joins us looking after the Donald track, and he's with us now. Good morning, Oscar.
Morning, Gareth. How are you?
Good, thank you, mate. What do you expect of the conditions today? How's the track looking?
Yeah, come up well. We had a fair bit of rain since sort of late Friday night, and that considering, I'm pretty happy with where the track's at the moment. Sort of that soft 5 could even go into a good 4 area, hopefully.
So rails true. No rain expected this afternoon?
No, should be a nice sunny day, hopefully.
Beautiful. Any wind conditions?
No, it's pretty light out here, slight breeze, but no, nothing too major.
So rail true. Hopefully get to a good 4. Every horse will get their opportunity today with this 9-race program.
Yep, that's it. That's the plan.
Bloody sensational. Thanks for that, mate. Appreciate it.
Cheers, Gareth. Have a good one, mate.
Same to you, brother. There's Oscar High. So that is a positive report there with the track. Sam Lyons, thanks to racing.com, joins us here on this Tuesday. G'day, Sam.
How are you, G-Man?
Good, thank you, mate. Have you been to Donald much with your trip down the highways to find the best pies, along with Mick Sharkey?
We haven't done Donald yet. I've been to the races there on a couple of occasions. I can't say I've got a bakery that way at this stage. Might be one of the next ones. We're always looking for a new bakery, mate.
Just go to Birchip. It's just around the corner it's in the Mallee, the Wimmer, of course. That's where Donald is, but it's in the North Central anyway. Get the best vanilla slices. Their pies are pretty good too at Sharp's Bakery. So
you're a snot block man, are you?
Yeah, I love it. Love it. Especially
Sharp is not block, man.
Especially there at Birchip, which has been the king of the vanilla slices. Every time they have an award, what's the best vanilla slices? The Birchip Bakery win. Right. They're
noted.
Yeah. Race 4, number 7. I'm noting this is your best bet on the program, Thinking Sensation.
Yeah, I preferred it when it was $2.50 before Hellacious and Wetland came out, but we're still getting $1.85 or so. This is a fit horse, racing well, fifth up for the preparation, placed in all of them. It's in a limited race. It's drawn barrier 1 for Matt Kamani and Owen Walsh. It'll roll forward and it won't get a better chance. It was unlucky last time just to get collared by Eleanor Demont there at Warrnambool on a soft 7. I think getting back to good grounds, no problems at all. If we are improving back to that 4, which is likely, and every opportunity, mate, should be winning race number 4.
So race 4, we're getting around $1.70 now. Thinking Sensation's been heavily supported. Race 6, number 4 is your next best. Kiss My Rock. For Patrick Kearney and Reese McLeod. It's also had some great backing, now into $3.50.
Yeah, it was $5. Well, it opened $8 and was still $5.50 sort of yesterday when we were getting a reasonable price for this horse. What it is, it's third up. It's down in class. It didn't have a lot of luck last time. Caught wide, forced forward, and was never really able to figure from there. That's not where it does its best work. I want to go back to last preparation, have a look at some of the efforts this horse put on after it won its maiden at Ballarat. It had been really consistent up until that point, then went to Sandown and ran third over a mile in a 3-year-old handicap behind Taken, only beaten, less than a length and a half. That was a really good run. It wasn't horrible in its next effort at Flemington. It was beaten 6 lengths, but it wasn't the worst rating event in a pretty strong race. I think if it improves third up here, which it should, with a little bit more luck from the gate, it brings anywhere near its best, I think it should be winning.
I love the confidence there, Kiss My Rock. Your best roughie comes up in the last race, the 13 Pacific Jewel, around $9 with Bet365.
Yeah, we're getting a little bit better than that yesterday, but still happy to take that price. To be honest, I'm still happy to probably back it down to $6 here. I quite like it. This is a horse first up for the Lucinda Boyd Yard, fourth up for the preparation, last race 24th of October, so a month between runs. It's an ex-Doodle horse, so an ex-Travis Doodle horse. It's down in class on its best efforts. This is another one. If you bring the best ratings from last preparation, it would be winning this. It sort of comfortably sits above them on that win at Morphettville Park over the 1550 last prep. It steps out from the 1200 last time out to the 1350, which is more suitable here. It didn't have a lot of luck when it missed a start last time out. It's 2 runs earlier this preparation and probably up to being very, very competitive here, and I think it's a great each-way bet in the last. It is a relatively open race. Plenty of horses can make a case, but I think for a horse of its ability, getting to the right stage was prep for the new yard with a nice jump out between runs, it should be a great each-way bet in the last.
1, 2, 3, 4, first leg of the quaddie for you. 1, 2, 3, 4, second leg 2, 6 and 7. Third leg 2, 4, 6, 8 and 17. So that's 2, 4, 6, 8 and 17. And the final leg 2, 3, 13 and 14. Good luck this afternoon on racing.com, Sammy boy.
Thanks, my friend.
There's Sam Lyons there. Always great to catch up with Sam Hyland on a Tuesday. He'll be with Campbell Brown this Tuesday afternoon. Hello to you, Sammy.
Hello, Gareth. How are you?
I heard you yesterday with Cameron Luke talking about this protest. So can I get this right? So you don't think there can be any protest upheld if there's interference that far from home? like it was there the other day at the 700.
I'm not saying that there shouldn't be any protest, right? You can have a go, but all I'll say is, right, that when it's that far from home, right, and it has to be significant interference, right, and that horse had all the way up the straight to go on and win the race, right, for what was only minor interference. It was only minor interference, and he got suspended for that, right? The jockey got suspended for that. But what you're losing sight of is the second horse overreacted, right? That was the horse's fault, the way it threw its head up and overreacted and lost ground, right? So yes, there was minor interference. He cut him a bit fine. I understand.
He got suspended, so it's more than minor interference.
He only got 7 days, didn't he? Didn't he get 7 days? 7 or 8 days?
Minor interference is when they don't get suspended.
Stop you need to forget about putting your steward's hat on, because you're a radio presenter, right? You're not a steward. And so you need to look at the thing. You need to weigh up, right, the percentage of, okay, who's at fault here, right? Yes, when he goes across, he tightens that thing up. He tightens that thing up a little bit, right? But then when Tommy Berry restrained it, it threw its head up, and then it got behind, and then it slammed the anchors on because it didn't know what it was doing. And so, well, that's all its own fault. That's not the winner's fault. The way it reacted to not being...
Yes, it is, because he broke the rules to get to where he needed to get to. If he didn't do that, then he wouldn't have reacted like that. The other aspect to all of that, like, if it's a dead set leader's track...
You know what? Again, right? Put your steward's hat on. Oh, that's right. You're not a steward. Fair enough. Righto. It's if we start upholding protests, right? If we start upholding protests for that at the 700 metre mark, there'll be people throwing in protests every single day, right? So it was the right decision. 100% it was the right decision.
Yeah.
But that's okay. You know what?
You can't
you
break
don't
the rules.
understand what I'm trying to...
I totally understand what you're trying to say, but I'm saying that if the stewards say that horse cost it, these are the steward's own words, saying that cost that horse a length and a half.
The steward's an idiot for saying that.
A length and a half.
Fool.
And you know what, with all of that, it is an interesting debate, but what I'm saying is that if you get a red-hot leader's track and someone takes your spot on the inside, and then you've got to come on...
nothing to do with it. The fact that it's a leader's track got nothing to do with it.
Well,
totally irrelevant. Totally irrelevant.
We'll argue all day, Sammy. 13 minutes past 11. I need a few winners today, however. Donald, Scone and Narromine you're tipping at.
Race 7, number 8, Ubiquity. Harry Coffey on board from a good gate. Now, I think this is, is this? This is $10 into $5.50 it is. So it's been supported. Now, Wild Simon, he's a good trainer. It's drawn a good gate, 1,000 metres. It's effective at the trip. And, yeah, I just think it ticks loads of boxes. So Ubiquity is the one we're going to go with at Donald. Then we go to Scone. Mm-hmm. And we are going race 5, number 6, Truce. Now, this horse was very good first up at its only start, and I think it'll be better again here. It's drawn a good gate. It'll sit just behind them. I mean, when it won first up at Scone, it was wide. It had it tough enough. It's been given plenty of time. It's a 4-year-old mare. It's only had one run under its belt, and it's out of a mare called Concessions, which went pretty good. So if she goes as good as the mother, I think she'll be winning. And then we go to Narromine, right? And we are going race 6 at Narromine, number 4, Starlink. Now, this is a stinky old mare, this one, and I have tipped her many times before. I said this to Cam Luke. She's let me down on numerous occasions. But 2 back there at Warren when I was on, it should have finished closer. It was $26 there. And then it went round at Wellington last time round, drew awkwardly, and just had it tough enough. Now, it's drawn not ideal here, and that's probably why you get it's a bit of good value. It's $11. So I'm thinking if there's a hot tempo, got a boatload of scratchings, there is 6. So if we just slot in one off and then come with a good run at the end, we'll get around Starling. to finally get over the line. So it gets in with 60.
Yeah.
It's got weight relief. I think it's found its right race. Now, I've put quaddies up on the quaddie up.
Mm-hmm.
And, and me and Brown Dog will try and tip up a storm today. And I just know.
Yeah.
I just know that Brown Dog will agree with me regarding the progress.
No, he won't. No, he won't. I'm getting a lot of love in my favour as well, would you believe, Sammy? So it'll be interesting. It's a good debate to have. And we haven't got enough time to debate this, but I'll debate it when I see it at the Emerald.
I can't wait.
The only man that I know that goes to a pub and serves himself. That's how good Sammy's going these days. Thanks, brother. Have a good day. See you,
Good
mate.
on you, Gareth.
Good on you, Sammy. He's a champ. I love him, Sammy. He's passionate. He's got strong opinions, which I enjoy. Luke Ovanesi and it's Scone. Race 3, number 6, Chest Time. And race 4, number 10, Set the Profit. Race 3, number 6, race 4, number 10. And Narrowmind, race 4, number 4, Kirk. And race 6, number 2, Ann Dale. Race 4, number 4, race 6, number 2. Head to thetrots.com.au for expert harness racing tips and in-depth analysis. Darren Carroll likes a couple at Shepparton. Race 6, number 9, My Mate Ace, and race 7, number 5, Totally Stunning. At Harness Racing New South Wales, the home of the Carnival of Cups where Australian music royalty meets quality harness racing action, Michael Dummersnick likes a couple at Young. Race 2, number 3, She Who Dares into race 8, number 2, Kai Lee. That's a multi. So race 2, number 3 into race 8, number 2. And Glenmore at Gloucester Park. I think he needs to lift a little bit, Silky. Race 1, number 4, Captain's Creek into race 6, number 2, Too Far Away Ted for Glenmore. Race 1, number 4, race 6, number 2. The views are better and the air is cleaner at Tassie, the perfect place to race. Jason Campbell at Hobart likes race 3, number 1, Memphis Reigns. Race 4, number 5, Dr. Neville. And race 10, number 3, Where's Auntie? And Brett Honey at the Mandurah Dogs. He likes race 6, number 2, Sheeran Melody. Race 9, number 8, Geordie Lad. And race 11, number 5, Mumbling. So race 6, number 2, race 9, number 8, race 11, number 5. That is bag of tips, all thanks to Oz Equipment Rentals, the Mighty Ultima Hotel and Bet365. Straight after this break, it's Facing the Breeze, thanks to Garrett's Horse and Hound. Now, we're streaming live here on Facebook and our YouTube channel. Get on Facebook and can you ask Toby McKinnon a question? I know that it was successful there on Sunday night with Paul Campbell. Campbell's comments, he does a wonderful job. Or you can text us in 0499 736 736. So we're going to talk about the new handicapping system which will come into play in the early part of next year with Harness Racing Australia. So Toby McKinnon will be my special guest for Facing the Breeze coming up next here on Giddy Up.
Plenty of racing awaits this season. Find it all at mrc.racing.com.
Join the conversation. Text us on 0499 736 736. This is Giddy Up with Gareth Hall. Garrard's Horse and Hound. Stocking the largest range at the best prices. Visit horseandhound.com.au. Live across Australia on SEN Track. This is Facing the Breeze with Gareth Hall.
Time now to face the breeze, all thanks to Garrett's Horse and Hounds and also Bet365. It's never ordinary when it's brought to you by Bet365. What's gambling really costing you? For free and confidential support, visit gamblinghelponline.org.au. There's plenty happening in the sport of harness racing. You've got a Group 1 Blacks of Fate coming up on Saturday. The WA Pacing Cup's Friday week away. And there's been a big announcement regarding the change to the handicapping system for harness racing in this country. Toby McKinnon's about to join us to go through most of this. But Anthony Butt's back on Facing the Breeze. He's been hard to catch of late. He's just been too busy for us, but with such an important issue to discuss today and debate, the great man is joining us, the president of the Victoria Trainers Association for HRV. Anthony, hello to you. Welcome back, Ants.
Yeah, thanks, Gareth. Yep, good to be back.
What did you make of the changes? Is it something that the sport desperately needed?
Yes, it is. Yeah. You know, it's one of the biggest topics in harness racing at the moment. So, you know, I haven't had a good delve into it, but you know, any change is better than what we've had, sort of thing.
Toby McKinnon from Harness Racing Australia joins us now. G'day, Topes.
G'day, Gareth and Anthony. I'm facing the breeze here, Ants,
You
and
are.
you're only allowed 10 hits, aren't you, Anthony, with the whip? Please.
He's three wide. He's three wide without cover. Now he's going with the breeze.
I've got one of the world's best drivers ever.
Yes,
sitting behind me.
What about this? So, why did you make the changes?
Well, I haven't made the changes, is first and foremost. So, Harness Racing Australia convened a committee of people,
Yes.
representatives of each state and a couple from the clubs. So those 8 people come together and there's an independent chair. I provide data and insight. They make the decisions and then I get to face the breeze, so to speak, and explain them.
So I was watching Campbell's comments the other day, and Paul Campbell does a wonderful job, and he talks to the industry basically for
Yeah, he
harness
does.
racing. He goes around the country in Australasia. And I was looking at the comments below, and there was a lot of people saying that you make up all of these stats.
No, I don't. That's, incredulous. You can look them up on harness.org.au and they are all there. And that's generally talking about juveniles. So when we change...
breeding numbers and all that as well, they say. So, yeah.
Well, breeding numbers have been dropping since the 80s, right?
Yep.
Like they've been in a decline since the 80s, and there's a lot of reasons why breeding is declining. We breed better horses to better stallions now that cost a bit more money to breed. So a lot of people would breed one horse instead of 2, or they might breed 5 horses instead of 10 because they're going to better stallions rather than their own stallion in the paddock where they might have had 10 mares go to it because it was so cheap. But those horses aren't as good as the quality stallions. So there's a lot to that. But the main focus over the last 18 months, basically since I started, was workshopping this, working on some data and looking at the system, speaking to industry, which I did I went to Queensland late in 2024. I went through New South Wales and I went through Victoria. I've had a couple of trips to Tasmania as well. And Ants came to a Victorian one.
Yes.
And it was pretty common across all of them, Anthony, was it's difficult for juvenile horses that are not necessarily the best ones, more that middle of the road sort of horse, the better than average 2 or 3 year old. They end up too high in the system at the end, and then they find it very difficult. Would that be fair to say, Anthony?
Yeah, well, that's the biggest complaint we were getting, Cobras. The 2 and 3 year olds were getting sort of too harshly treated for winning some races, and also other horses that say win a couple of races quick in their first, say, 5 or 6 starts. So that was the biggest, complaint that we were getting.
So to address that, there's a couple of things that are coming in on the 1st of January 2026. One, we're going to try and push the older horses up. So they'll get an extra point when they win a race, and we're restricting the dropbacks to only 4 horses in a race. So there'll be more points going up and less going down. So At the moment, and it's a collective statement, this, but a lot of horses in the 40s really should be in the 50s. They've won 20 races, and they're better than a horse that's starting its career as an NR50 because you start off at NR50. So we want those horses in the 40s to get up into the 50s, and then the ones in the 50s need to be in the 60s, and the ones in the 60s need to go up into the 70s to create more horses in the middle bracket to allow better racing in that middle bracket. But doing that was going to make it harder for juveniles because you're giving them more points as well, right? So the compromised position is 2-year-olds and 3-year-olds. When they race each other, will get half points rounded down. So if you get 3 points, you actually end up with 1 point for that race. If it's 4, it's 2, and so on.
I'm talking on behalf of like a punter here, all right?
Yep.
So, Ants, the more I look at these races in the trots, there seems to be a lot more bad races than there is good races anymore. Would that be fair?
Oh, definitely, Gareth. Yeah, one of the aims of the system when it first came in was prolong horses' lives, racing careers, and that's happened. But definitely that because horses they never get on their marks anymore. They just go up and down the system. They win a race and they might have 4 or 5 or 6 losses in the back to where they started before they won that race. So horses are prolonging their lives, but the downside is people aren't replacing the horses anymore because they're staying in the system. So there's goods and bads, so it's really hard to say what's right and what's wrong. And I think we're seeing it now with a lot of horses. Once upon a time, they'd win their 3, 4, 5 races, they'd get sold to Adelaide or Tassie or even Perth maybe, and people would go and buy a new horse and replace it. But now they don't have to because that horse is still competitive for so much longer. So, but in saying that, those horses are filling fields and creating product for us to bet on. So, yeah, it's a very tricky one.
They're the country footballs that play on the weekend, Gareth. That's how I look at it. They're the country footballs. We can't have AFL players playing everywhere every weekend. We need the country footballs that effectively hobbyists.
Yeah.
So that's how I look. They're the country footballs, but the system has become unbalanced. 55% of horses are below the starting point at the moment. It's actually probably a bit more than that now because it's a few months since I ran it. It's too many, right? It's not designed to be like that. We've got to push more up above the starting point.
Yeah. Do we need more professionals in the game then, Toby?
Of course.
Yeah.
And we need more hobbyists and we need more owners and more breeders.
Yeah.
And Ants is right. Horses do race a lot longer for their owners. And my late father used to say, your greatest strength's your greatest weakness. So maybe the greatest strength with the rating system is it prolongs the life of a horse and someone can keep racing it because they love that horse so much and put a lot more photos on the wall. But then the downside to that, the biggest weakness is that they're not reinvesting in the sport, perhaps with a new horse, but that's how it is. I can acknowledge that. Yeah.
0499 736 736 to join our conversation. We are streaming on Facebook and also our YouTube channel, but leave a comment maybe on our Facebook page if we're streaming live there on Facebook. And if you've got a question for Ants or Toby, let us know. Hey, we'll take the news. We'll come back with more of this special Facing the Breeze thanks to Gareth Horse and Hound as we discuss, of course, the new handicapping system or changes to the handicapping system, which will take place from the 1st of January 2026.
Good morning, making SEN News headlines. The TGA has released a safety alert over the potential risk of suicidal thoughts and behaviours for those taking weight loss medications. The AMA, however, says there isn't enough evidence to back up the claims. Today, the federal government will release its national plan to deal with ever-evolving artificial intelligence technology. Closing arguments begin today in the murder trial over the 2018 death of Toya Cordingley in Cairns. And new polling has found 1 in 4 men from Generation X X say they would vote for One Nation if an election was held today. Up next, SEN Sport. Usman Khawaja will face a final fitness test today after he was hampered by back spasms in the first test in Perth. A decision will be made on whether he can play in the Gabba test that starts on Thursday. And thanks to Unibet, gamble responsibly. Starting soon, the final game of NFL's Week 13. The Patriots, Alfred's 11th win of the season, taking on the New York Giants.
Plenty of racing awaits this season. Find it all at mrc.racing.com.
Join the conversation. Text us on 0499 736 736. This is Giddy Up with Gareth Hall.
Facing the breeze, it's 11:34. Anthony Butt, Toby McKinnon with me. So the Ants, do you think this will work? The new system here with these 2 and 3 year olds that they only get half points now for winning, half what they were getting anyway.
Well, I haven't delved into it enough, Gareth. There's way smarter people than me that will know if this is going to be right or not. So obviously the data's shows that it should, so we just hope the data's right. Data can be skewed any way you like, so all we can do is try and see what happens in the next few months.
Topes?
Well, there's a few things data is showing me,
yes,
right? And people can challenge the data if they would like, but more 2-year-olds and 3-year-olds are winning than ever. Than in the class system previously. And there's a number of reasons for that. They can race the older horses straight away and not sort of incur a big penalty. They incur the same penalty. So in the previous system, you got to win 2-3-year-old races before you went into the open system, but now you're already in the open system. So you can win one in the open system. You don't sort of burn those other wins, if that makes sense. So people have worked that out over time. So we've got more 2-year-olds and 3-year-olds winning than ever. And I will argue for that point until I'm blue in the face. We want 2-year-olds and 3-year-olds to win as soon as possible, because when you have your first start, your bank balance is at the lowest possible point for that horse. If you think about a horse as a bank balance, you've got all the costs of breeding and breaking and adjustment and training and pre-training. When you get to the races the first time, and I'm sure Ansel will agree to this, that's when your horse is at the highest negative bank balance, right? So the more horses that can win as 2-year-olds and 3-year-olds, the better. And I will fight for that. I don't care what anyone says.
Yeah, it's all good and well winning as a 2 and 3 year old, then you can't win anymore because you put me up too much in class, which defeats the purpose.
Hence, halving the 2-year-old and 3-year-old points when they race each other. You'll still, if you race against the older horses, you'll still have that option, but you will take full points in that race. So that's to encourage 2-year-olds and 3-year-olds to race against each other. But if you do want to take on the older horses, you still can. There'll be nothing to stop you from doing that, but you won't get the concession of the half points.
And the situation with all of that is that people go, well, why don't you just go back to what was working back before this system? Like you win your 2-3-year-olds and then you can go into a CO, C1. But you can't do that anymore because there's no horses. Is that right?
The horse population's not enough.
Yeah.
So when that system came in 1990, we were breeding 15,000 a year. We breed 3,000 a year now, and that's not about to go back to 15,000. Like no one will disagree with that. So We just don't have the volume of horses to create that base pyramid. So if there's not enough at the bottom, you can't feed up the pyramid enough. Now, the other problem with that, you would have a good 3-year-old win a couple of 3-year-old races and get through to what was called a CO, and it would win at $1.05 in a CO. To go to a C1 and win at $1.05. Those races are very costly to the industry because the wagering on those races is down a lot. And I always use this example that a punter in a pub looks up, there's $1.05 or $1.10 favourite and says, I've got $10. They aren't betting $10 to win 50 cents, right? But they don't want to back anything else in the race because they assume that other horse can't win. Now, people will say, but when the race is like that, I have a multi or a trifecta or a Cornell. It's okay to say that, but the data shows, and all the states will tell you, those races are poor wagering races. So in 2018, 11% of our races were $1.30 or less favourites. And last year, in the rating system, that was down to 6.6%. So that $1.30 or less favourite, and you would have heard it, the Trots has too many short price favourites, has dropped significantly. WA didn't come across to the rating system till this year. The end of last year, they were at 19% $1.30 or less. That's 1 in 5 races were $1.30 or less. Last month, because they came to the rating system in January, last month they were down to 5% of races $1.30 or less.
But then you get a situation with that. When I went to WA talking to the people, it's working for some stables, but the biggest stables that have been the biggest supporters of the industry, putting the most amount of money in, like the Halls and the Bonds, are thinking about cutting back and even walking away. So that surely isn't good for the game.
Well, there's still the same amount of races, same amount of prize money, so distributing it maybe slightly differently.
Yeah, and it's not viable for them going forward in a way. They're big races, but it's hard for them to get a return on investment for the horses that they purchase, and they have to sell them to America. So can you get the balance right there?
Well, I'm not sure what exactly their issue is, because if they're buying a horse for $200,000, it's not going to race in the rating system. It's going to race in derbies or oaks and golden nuggets and races like that, and then go to free-for-all. So there's a certain percentage of horses that really don't live in a rating system, the top 5% maybe. They really just, like Ladies in Red never ran in a ratings-based race. It was irrelevant to her. Those real top horses, and I'm sure Ants will agree, it doesn't really matter what the handicapping system is. They all end up racing each other.
Is there still incentive, Ants, there to go out and buy these good horses now? Or is it getting a little difficult?
Well, it also comes down to prize money, Gareth. At the moment, and Victoria was struggling. So, and the worst thing about it is New Zealand's flying. So, New Zealand don't want to sell their horses as much as they used to, and so yeah, that's probably the biggest issue. Is I don't think the rating system is too much, about that. So yeah, I think it more comes down to prize money and how much they can win back and that kind of thing.
Yeah. And that's a good point that Ants makes there,
100%.
Toby. Yeah.
100%.
Is it difficult for different states? And I was listening to you on Sunday night with Paul Campbell. There's a lot of different
intricacies within
states. With states.
Right.
So obviously there's different horse populations, and certain states race only once or twice a week, like Tassie, and then there's only 3 tracks in Queensland. Is that difficult to get it right for and for this system to work for the majority of the country?
Agreed. And I use this analogy a lot, and you probably heard it Sunday night. The rating system is the spine of it. It's the bones, and how states program around it is the meat, the muscle, the skin, and that's what people see. But we need a system at the base of it all. So, and your point's great. Queensland race at Redcliffe and Albion Park and Marburg, they're all within about an hour of each other. It's very different programming there as it is to New South Wales because they are so regionally based. They'll have a meeting one day at Wagga and the next day maybe at Tamworth. They're so far apart, so they have to program so differently. And then Victoria's got trotters to consider. So, and then Tassie and South Australia have their own challenges, and WA's probably a bit more like, or WA's sort of halfway between a Queensland and a regional model. So they've all got their own intricacies. So it is hard to have the one system that suits all those states. And the committee that came together. And I just to
who was on that committee?
Oh, there's reps from every state. Generally, a head of racing sort of level person. they would all hopefully say they walked away with about 80% of what they wanted. So if everyone's got about 80%, no one could get 100% because then someone else might get 60%, right? So I think all the states walked away compromised, with a compromise in there somewhere, as they didn't quite get exactly what they would want for their participants. And people look at that now and they would say, well, say in Queensland, well, it doesn't really suit us because of this, but that's in that 20%. There's another 80% that'll help. And I know I couldn't imagine anybody against juveniles getting half points.
11:43. We're going to take a break. We'll come back with plenty more straight after this.
Plenty of racing awaits this season. Find it all at mrc.racing.com.
Join the conversation. Text us on 0499 736 736. This is Giddy Up with Gareth Hall.
Welcome back to Giddy Up. This is Facing the Breeze. Anthony Butt and Toby McKinnon with us from Harness Racing Australia to talk about the new handicapping which will be implemented on the 1st of January 2026. And so we need more claimers. We need claimers to come back.
Yeah, I think it's a good option, Gareth. They work well in the past, and as long as you have a sort of an arrow price range for each class, there's definitely a place for them because it just gives some horses, another life and another sort of career. Yeah.
Toby?
It's a programming matter. It's not really a ratings-based handicapping
I know,
system
but it
matter.
isn't a handicapping where you can handicap your own horses.
Correct.
So why don't you just implement it? It's successful everywhere else, and then people can't complain about the handicapping system because you're handicapping your own horse.
Well, the rules are in place to allow it, so it's fine.
Then why don't we do it?
That's
Is that up to the states?
It's up to the states.
Would you do it? Would you recommend it?
The last one I remember being programmed in Victoria had 7 nominations, and they're all from the same stable, and the whole field was from the same stable.
Okay. Why is that, Ants? I reckon, would they be more for it now?
Yeah, I think they've got to be, if you're going to do it, program them consistently, Gareth, so they're on every week, and, then you'll build up a pool of horses. So, I think if you just chuck them one in here, and one there, that doesn't really work. They've got to be consistent and on every week.
A few questions coming through here.
Go.
Does Toby have the percentage of winners in each state for 2 and 3-year-olds? Some states seem to have a lot more winners than some other states.
I do, not in front of me though.
No. Question for Anthony. With how good New Zealand harness racing is going, especially in the South Island, and how poor the prize money is in Victoria, which is improving, I reckon, over the next year or so, would Ants consider heading back to New Zealand?
Oh, kick out notice.
Yeah, is that from my mother?
Kim, it's signed off by Kim, who just Group 1 Kim, it says.
You wouldn't go back, would you, Ants? Surely not.
No, I've never intended to, Gareth, but you never know. I've got 2 little grandkids there now, so I'll go home at some stage, but not in the immediate future.
Trouble with 2 and 3-year-olds having a race against older horses program. That's from Gary.
Yeah, difficult because a lot of time there's just not enough of them to make a field. So it's hard to program a race if there's just not enough of those horses to make a field. So an important concept in this, though, and Gary might be aware or not, that if you program a 2 and 3-year-old race at a race meeting and it falls over and doesn't happen, you are then eligible to go in an open age race and still get the half points at that same meeting.
Mm-hmm.
So if that 2 or 3-year-old, as Gary says, doesn't happen because of whatever reason, you can go against the older horses and take the half points.
Is it harder for, I think South Australia's been going really well of late, but is it difficult for them to get horses now with the horses that are competing more often in Victoria?
A little bit. That has been an issue for them that they would say.
Yeah.
I haven't dug deep down into it. They have implemented a slightly, they have a state-based rule that allows a bit of a difference, which has allowed them to get a few extra horses.
Yep. Why do you stop at 120 rating points?
That's what was implemented at the start.
Would you change that?
Potentially.
Should Leap to Fame be allowed to draw inside another 120 rate if he had one bad run and dropped a point? Should be on top on the NR.
Should be no top on the NR, so no cap.
Hey, Gareth, can I just say something?
Yeah, okay.
Ask Toby, why, with those 2 and 3-year-olds when they race against the older horses, why don't they get their half points in that? Because as you said, a lot of times, you can't find a race, so you're forced to go against the older horses. Why can't the 2 and 3-year-olds, or 2-year-olds especially, get their half points in any race?
The reasoning behind that is to encourage them to race each other. So a lot of the feedback at the road shows was it's too hard for 2-year-olds and 3-year-olds to race against the older horses. But then what we're seeing in a race meeting, for example, there'll be a 2-year-old or 3-year-old race programmed, and there might be 2 nominations in that race, and then throughout the rest of the race meeting, there's a full field of them. There's enough horses to fill a field. So it's to encourage horses to go into that 2 or 3-year-old race to make a field.
Okay, we'll take a quick break. We'll get and wrap this up straight after this here on Giddy Up.
Plenty of racing awaits this season. Find it all at mrc.racing.com.
Join the conversation. Text us on 0499 736 736. This is Giddy Up with Gareth Hall.
Time has run out, but you can get in contact with you, Toby, to ask any question you want, basically.
Yeah, basically.
Yep.
Toby, tmckinnon at hra.com.au.
And Ants, we'll see how it works out. Any other questions? We've got about a minute before we have to go.
No, I think Toby will be coming left, right and centre from everywhere. So,
Any winners, Ants? Any winners?
Yeah, I really like Joyride on Friday night in the Breeders' Crown Heat. She come over from New Zealand and got a bit crook when she arrived, but she seems back to her best, so she'll probably be 20-1, Gareth. So tell the listeners to have something on.
It's beautiful. We'll tell Grandal Giddy, thanks for sending it over crook, and we've improved it out of sight. No problems, Crown, and we'll get the job done.
Hopefully, Gareth.
Carter's not coming to drive it, is it? We're going to stick with you, Ants, surely.
Well, no, Zach Butcher's the man there. He's in the family. Had the big wedding last week, so
well done.
I'm shot down the list a bit.
Good on you, brother. Thanks for that, Ants.
And Ants.
You're always number one in my eyes. Good on you, Tobes.
Thanks, Gareth.
That is Giddy Up.